Welcome. In front of me I have the ZTE Nubia Neo 3 GT, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device, its specifications, build quality, features, and then give you my general opinion about the device itself and maybe if it's worth picking it up now, considering I am a little bit late to this, so it already came out, last year. Now on the package we have the god-awful AI branding, like any one of us actually gives two shits about this, but it is here for our displeasure. And we have two little seals at the back. It looks literally like Scotch tape almost. So anyway, let's pop that open. There we go. Okay, so in here we have some information on the little cover. I'm just gonna eat that to the side for now. I'm gonna be going over all of it in a moment anyway. And under here we have a cable for charging. It's a Type-C to Type-C. Get a stack of paper that you will never read, and a SIM ejector, and a plastic hard shell case. It's pretty nice. And a little bit less nice is the screen protector. I like the fact that it's included, but for God's sakes, if you're going to include a plastic protector, pre-apply it. And yep, there is nothing pre-applied here. The reason I like these pre-applied is because for sakes it doesn't cost them that much to pre-apply it, and when it's applied out of the factory, at least you can be sure that it's going to be applied correctly. This, on the other hand side, trying to apply it yourself, I personally tend to put on tempered glasses and stuff like that quite frequently. Tempered glass will go freaking smoothly. These garbage screen protectors, I can never get them on the device without leaving any kind of air bubbles or anything like that. It's just, for me, physically impossible. So when you're going to include this piece of shit, at least have the decency to apply it, or don't include it at all, as it's just as useless as not being included. At least that's my personal kind of preference here. Maybe I'm just stupid and don't know how to apply these myself, but I definitely do not struggle applying tempered glass. So if I gotta apply something at home, it might as well be tempered glass, so that would have been much better to include it. Now anyway, let's move to the device itself and boot it up first. There we go. So in a moment you will see the display in its full kind of bezel, with bezels and all that stuff. And the display right here is a 6.8 inches in size. 6.8 inches in size with a resolution of 1080 by 2392 pixels, so 2392. And you can see screen to body ratio, it's okay for considering the fact that this device was last year, and this isn't like, a flagship phone. These are actually damn good bezels for a phone that is, let's call it, at a lower end. And a lower end being price-wise about $350 US. Now it's not the best for that price, to be completely honest, but anyway, I'm going to talk about that later on. So other than that, the display right here is actually also pretty nice, being AMOLED display, 120 Hz refresh rate, and a peak brightness of 1300 nits. So that's pretty nice. Now if we flip it over to the back, this is primarily a gaming phone, so it does have cameras, but let's be honest, they're not going to be wowing you. And it looks like there are two cameras. Now this is only looks, because companies have this scammy logic that if we put a fake dot at the back, people will think that it's a better value than it actually is. It doesn't. It just pisses the shit out of me, considering some cunt is trying to scam me with a design that is going to confuse into making me think that I get more value than I actually am getting. Well, I have this thing, the capability of reading. And because I can read, I can see that there is just a single lens, being a 50 megapixel wide sensor. Now, GSM Arena labels this the second thing as a auxiliary lens. Now, that auxiliary lens literally has nothing in it. So yeah, that's auxiliary. I don't know what kind of lens. It's just if you call a piece of glass pretending to be a camera and lens, then sure, there is one. But in reality, you can just cover that up, and honestly, it won't impact your photos in any kind of way because there is nothing there. Now, under that, we have a two-tone flash, and then at the front, we have a selfie. And that selfie is a 16 megapixel camera. Now, the selfie can do 1080p 30, while the main ones aren't listed by GSM Marina for some reason. So, anyway, it's a gaming phone. It's not like you're going to be going about and taking good photos with this, let's be honest. So, moving on, we have 6,000 milliamp hour battery inside, which is pretty damn good. That's a very respectable battery size right here. And even better is the charging speed for this battery, which is 80 watts. Now, it would have been also nice to include a freaking charger in the box with the device. The logic of, well, most people have chargers. Yeah, most people have shit chargers. Not very many people have an 80-watt charger lying around, especially when you consider that garbage phones like, for instance, Samsung, even with the flagship ones, which propagates this bullshit logic, even when these phones were coming out with the chargers, these phones, flagship phone from Samsung, S25, can charge at whopping 25 watts. I'm pretty sure Samsung isn't going to be offering me a 120-watt charger for a phone that maxes out at 25. So even if I buy a separate charger for some other phones like Samsung, I still don't have a good enough charger to charge this one at full capacity, which means I need to buy another charger anyway to use that, which, great, I'm saving the environment, saving it from me having actual money in my wallet. Fantastic. I generally despise this kind of logic of not including a charger in a phone, as you're buying a phone that needs to be charged. As far as I know, the moment it dies, it becomes a freaking useless brick. And therefore, I do need to charge it somehow. And plugging the cable in doesn't just magically charge it from air. Tesla didn't survive long enough to actually make that possible, unfortunately. So I would love to see a charger with every device, as at that point, you're actually getting a full package. Anyway, other than that, once you can charge it, the 80 watts is pretty damn good. Now, the device also comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM as the only option and 256 gigabytes of storage as the only option. It also has no expandable storage, unfortunately, so it only has SIM card support in here. Just pop that out and show you. You can see we have dual SIM card support right here and no SD card, unfortunately. Would have been nice considering 256 for a gaming phone is a little bit on the lower side. Now, moving on, the device also is being powered by a Unisec T9100 processor. Now, if you don't know what that is, I can compare it to something a little bit more commonly used and commonly known, I would say, which would be something like the Dimensity 7300 processor. That, or I believe that is also comparable to a Snapdragon, let's see, Snapdragon, I presume this one will be probably already crap. Yeah, Snapdragon 6, yep. Okay, so it's comparable to a Snapdragon 6 Gen 3. Now, it's actually slower, to be completely upfront. But the differences here are pulled from nanoreview.net. And in terms of CPU performance, they're rating it that Unisec, which is this one, gets 32 points versus Snapdragon getting 37. So only like 5-point different. Then in terms of gaming performance, we're looking at 15 Unisec, Snapdragon 22 points. Battery life 83. And Snapdragon 91. And if we look at actual comparisons into benchmarks, and 2210 benchmark gets the Unisec T9100 a score of of 522,667, while the Snapdragon gets a 625,500 536. So it is by nearly 100,000 more higher rated, which puts it at about 20% higher score. And now Geekbench, I'm not going to go over numbers. I'm just going to give you the percentage differences. Geekbench 6 gets you 17% increase. That has the Snapdragon has the increase, obviously, in single core, and 19% in multi-score. So this one is basically slower than the lower end Snapdragon processor that you can get, Gen 3. Now, I do want to compare it more towards the other one, which was the Dimensity 7300, as this one is a bit more commonly seen, I would say, in devices that are priced very affordably. So if we look at that Antutu benchmark, we're getting actually even better performance with the Dimensity, which is 28% increase. And in terms of single core Geekbench 6, it's 21, and multi 23%. So in general, this way it's better. Now, one thing that I do want to point out in terms of compute score for GPU, which will be important for gaming, it gets a 5% increase. This one actually wins out over the Dimensity. Quickly, let me check out the Snapdragon, which I just kind of didn't look at the specific rating, which would have been nice. Snapdragon 6. There we go. And in terms of gaming performance, this one also beats out the Snapdragon. So it loses in terms of single and multi-core performance, but it actually beats it out by 19% in terms of graphical performance. So that's pretty good, considering obviously this is a gaming device. So in this case, you probably will care more about the gaming performance itself. So that's it in terms of comparisons and the processor itself. Now, if we continue on, we can take a look at what else we got. The build quality. So build quality wise, number one, aesthetic wise, typical gaming phone. Personally, not the biggest fan of this. It's too loud, even for a gaming device. This design right here at the back is a little bit just to me, at least. Maybe you're a fan of it. That's great. That's fine. And something that isn't necessarily visible. This design actually has different kind of textures. So if I start, for instance, moving my fingernail on this, you can see this portion has this kind of weird design, which has a texture to it that you can feel. Then you have another one here, just a bit finer. Same thing. This one is also different kind of texture right here, which also has a little bit of a feel to it, with smooth portions in between. So the black right here is just actually smooth, and right here too. So this is glass or plastic. Let's see, does it say? No, it doesn't. So I'm not clear this is actually glass or plastic. Could be either one. So I'm not going to really comment on this one. Now, frame though is plastic, unfortunately. So all around plastic. We have also our power button on the side that is coated with this red color. Volume markers right above that. Then we have our triggers, the capacitive ones, which have more of a glass look to it. You can see with a little bit of a design, kind of like an arrow right here. Then at the bottom we have our SIM tray, USB charging port, speakers, microphone in between here. Left side completely empty. Up we have another microphone for, I believe, noise cancellation when through calls, and other than that, nothing here. And yeah, that's about everything that there is in terms of design and build quality. So build quality wise, it's not necessarily the most durable device, considering it is coming with a plastic frame. So you might want to obviously use this provided plastic hard case, which will protect your device a little bit. And it is pretty minimal too, considering it's more like a top and bottom kind of bumper case. But still, if you drop it, it's going to protect it to some extent. So it has additional plastic here, a harder one. So I do recommend probably using that if you tend to drop your device. Okay, so last thing to mention is the price of this device. So price-wise, we're looking at, even though this device already came out like last year, we're still looking at not the best price. So you're gonna be paying about 1,300 PLN. Now 1,300 PLN, like I said, was about what is it, 350 US dollars. 100. Let's see, PLN to USD. Yeah, 350 United States dollars. Now that would also include tax in this. So this is not, you know, this already has tax included, so it's a full price. So anyway, for that price, I believe you might be better off actually going with a different device that isn't necessarily a gaming phone. So that device would be, I would say, probably the Xiaomi. Now, it's going to be better for gaming, specifically in terms of performance, but it will lack the features like the capacitive touch buttons. So it's going to be much more powerful at just a slight increase in price. And let me check one more device, which I... so I'm trying to see as there was... what's the price for this? Yeah, this one is also a little bit more expensive, but could potentially be a decent recommendation. So, okay, so I checked it out. So there are two options that I could recommend, because this device isn't necessarily new. It already, you know, has been out on the market. So you kind of are already losing some of the security patches that you're going to be getting in terms of longevity, as this device won't be supported for, you know, forever. So typically I think it's like 2 or 4 years that you get security patches. Obviously we already have like 1 year behind here. So you can scratch that a year and you haven't been using this device. So for that purpose, if you got to sacrifice something, you might as well get much more value out of your device in terms of performance and all that jazz. And I would possibly recommend looking for the Nubia Red Magic 11 Air. This will be a little bit more expensive over this device, but it packs a Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is the same kind of processor that you have in a flagship offering from Samsung in terms of the S25 and S25, for instance, Ultra. So this is a pretty damn good processor, and recently it's been only substituted by the 8 Elite Gen 5, which is a newer version of the same processor. But still, 8 Elite is just basically flagship grade. It also has a much bigger battery, faster charging, better display, nicer design, capacitive touch buttons, and all that jazz. So you get improvements over everything. And if you can snag that device at, I don't know, maybe used market, which is very possible, you're looking potentially at not that much big of a price difference, but in terms of value for the device, holy shit, it's night and day difference there. So that's one. And if you don't mind missing out the capacitive touch buttons, you could potentially look at the Poco from Xiaomi F8 Pro. Specifically the Pro, it's the lower end. They also have Ultra, but that one will be more expensive. Pro will be still coming at higher price than this, but again, not that much. And we're talking about this device being relatively new and talking about a new phone. So instead of 350, you're probably looking more about like $450 price wise. So again, should be relatively affordable, a little bit more increase in price, but again, in terms of the value for the device, you're increasing what the potential package of, like, the value of it immensely. We're looking again at a device that comes with the 8 Elite processor from Snapdragon, which again is a flagship processor in itself. Again, massive battery, super fast charging, great displays, and more storage options, more RAMs, and all that stuff. So one of the better options or improvements as well when it comes down to the Poco over this or the Nubia Red Magic Air 11 would be the cameras. Poco is not a gaming device, specifically designed gaming device, so it does have better cameras. It sacrifices the capacitive buttons on the sides, but it gains much better camera and photo qualities plus video quality. So that would be also one benefit. And obviously you can always snag one of those like telescopic controllers and just have normal buttons on the side. This will be also just a, in my opinion, much better gaming experience over the buttons. I had device with the buttons, and I much rather prefer to use the controller and just plop it on here and have actual physical buttons than try to deal with the touchscreen and these buttons. Not comfortable in general. If you have never used it for prolonged periods, it just doesn't feel that great. And using the touch display also isn't the most kind of comfortable thing. So I would recommend maybe looking, if you want a phone for gaming purposes, to get a more powerful device and get one of those controllers over looking for one that actually has the buttons. As in terms of value, I personally don't think they're that great in terms of usability. Now, this is just my personal opinion right here. After using these and owning phone that had them, and I actually owned the ZTE Nubia Red Magic, I think it was 11, or not the Air, the chunkier one. So it wasn't necessarily the most kind of comfortable, and having a controller is much better for gaming. But hey, if you can get this one at a cheaper price than it's like retailing what I mentioned, then by all means, this could be a potentially good package. I would myself recommend going for the higher kind of price tag if you can obviously afford that, for the purpose that such a device will have more power, much better processors, and will last you longer. And if you go with something like a Poco, it's a new release device, so it will have the support for a longer period of time than this one, by at least another year, which is in itself a great kind of thing to have if you value not getting hacked. So anyway, that about sums it up. I do hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I will show you how you can go through the setup process of this device. So, when you boot it up for the very first time, you should be presented with the same screen that you can see on my end, which comprises of a language selection and vision settings along with emergency call. So we're going to start off maybe with the vision settings to first of all get rid of or help people that have some kind of visual impairment go to the other options. So under vision settings, we have a couple different options to utilize. Fonts, which will allow you to increase the actual font of the display along with elements on it. We have magnifier, which furthermore allows you to increase it even more. As well as we have select to speak. So when you click on something, it will tell you what you actually selected. And we have just straight up talkback. So this is just primarily like entirely kind of use case of a device, which is navigation through swipe up, downs, and tops, which every time you swipe down, for instance, it selects something lower on the screen and reads every time what's selected. And when you tap the screen, double tap, it accepts it. So this one would be usable by basically people that are fully blind. They could still use their devices like this. Now, anyway, under languages now, we can choose our desired language. For me, it already selected English, and you can see, as I suggested, it's English, United States. If I find English in the list below, I can actually choose different region, like Australia, Canada, India, Ireland, and UK, and US, as well as Malta. Now, for some reason, I can't select Poland, which is where I'm from, because God forbid I would speak English in Poland, right? Which is a little bit crappy, because none of these are falling under the EU kind of countries. So the reason I kind of am looking for EU countries is because there is maybe a slither of a chance that by selecting some kind of country that is based in EU, it will force the company like Google to comply with whatever EU comes up with stupid shit, right? Now, by selecting that I'm from there, but for instance choosing English, I'll be able to maybe circumvent the fact that company wouldn't want to comply. Now, typically when I would select Polish, which, you know, there's a language here, obviously that would also give me the region Poland, which is part of EU. Now, the reason here to select something that is part of EU is that when European Union comes up with a law and the company needs to implement it, at least in the region of European Union, right? Chances are they might only want to implement it here, as it could be not very beneficial to their profit margins outside, right? So they want to still sell the devices here, but they will comply only here with whatever EU came up with. So by selecting this region, you possibly could be affected by those changes that are being forced onto the company, but maybe not outside of EU. So that's kind of why I wanted to select such a place. But you know what, I'm just going to select US here. I'm going to pretend I have rights while my rights are to get screwed by giga corporations here. And let's move on. So next we have connect to mobile network by inserting a SIM card. This step is completely optional and you don't need to do it. So I'm going to be skipping it. Next we'll have the Wi-Fi connection. And again, this is also optional and you don't need to connect to your Wi-Fi. But if you choose to skip both Wi-Fi and mobile data, then you're setting up your device in offline mode and it gets you this pop-up. So set up offline, and by doing so, you won't be able to sign into your Google account, restore apps and data, get software updates, and automatically set the date and time. Now, this only applies to the setup. Once it's finished, you can change it all, and this is not set in stone, so you don't need to worry. You can connect to network later on, and it automatically will also change the date and time. And you can later on sign into your Google accounts, restore apps and data and all that stuff. So for now, if you want, you can just completely ignore this and it won't really matter that much later anyway. Now here's the date and time, which like I mentioned is not set automatically, and it is actually set correctly though. So in any case, let's move on. Now here we can choose our PIN. Now that's the default option that it opts into, which is a PIN, 6 or 4 to 6 digit one, but you can also click right here on screen lock options and choose pattern or password as well. Now I'll be selecting pattern. Now you don't need to select anything, you can actually skip it, but it is your device that is going to be holding your personal information, so you might as well protect it. Let's click on next and then repeat the same password once more. Now, when you set something up, any kind of PIN, pattern, or password, it will then prompt you to add a fingerprint. This is optional. You don't need to do this. I mean, so was the password anyway. But if you want to, you can add it up. If you don't, you can just go back counterintuitively, and this will proceed forward. Now, here, I'm going to spend a little bit more time explaining this entire section, as it is just one that annoys me, and I do want to make people aware of how BS this entire shit right here is. So, going over this, we have Google services like use location, allow scanning, send user and diagnostic data, and install updates and apps. Now, I'm going to be going over this in a pessimistic way, as I always do. So, we have use location. Now, by the name of this feature, you would think that by turning it off, your device isn't being located in any way. That would be the logical thought process right here, which I wouldn't blame you if you think that normally. I sure shit would have been thinking that thing, but hey, I can tell you it's incorrect. So it tells you that it's not going to be using or assessing your location through things such as Wi-Fi, cellular network towers, and the GPS. Wait, that's impossible. I don't think it really means what it says right here with the cellular. At least it's not in a way that you might expect. It's not going to be getting the exact location through that, but the tower itself will be giving away your location. So let's be clear about that one. Anyway, so by turning that off, you supposedly are off the grid. Good joke, right? Google and being off the grid. Anyway, next thing we have is allow scanning. So allows apps and services to scan for Wi-Fi networks and nearby devices at any time, even when Wi-Fi or Bluetooth is off. Well, that's great. It just basically tells you that Wi-Fi and Bluetooth being off isn't off. Amazing. And by turning that off, you subsequently basically just don't allow this device to scan for other ones. It doesn't really stop other devices for scanning for yours. By scanning for yours and finding them, because to be honest, even though it's not showing up in Bluetooth or Wi-Fi list, the devices are still kind of communicating between each other, most certainly. By communicating, it's getting your location, FYI. And the other device could be sharing it. So that's great. Next, we have send user and diagnostic data. Now, I'm one of those people that believes any kind of data on here, no matter what it is, it's user data. I don't care what it is and how you want to classify it. Anything coming out of this device is my data. It's my phone, it's my data. And that would also imply that anything that is, by turning it off, that is coming out as a connection to other devices through Wi-Fi that are seeing in my device and gaining its information, because by being discoverable to other devices, even if the person can't see it really, but it is system, like the system can, that would mean that my device is sending some kind of data, user data, my data, which would be violating this option and this option at the same time. Cool. Okay, so now that we get that out of the way, there is most likely a very easy way for you to check out if these options had any kind of impact, which would be to basically back out to the first page of the setup where you get to choose your language, click on emergency call, and type 911. And if you have someone pick up, which you probably will, that means that your phone has connected to a cell tower and is relaying your information on where it is located at. Well, maybe not the phone, but the cell tower definitely is. So your phone might not be located very accurately, but it is going to be located to a point of the cell tower reception or the closest cell tower and that vicinity. So basically a couple block radius, which as something that is not supposed to relay any kind of information, which, by the way, IMEI info, by connecting to a cell tower, presumably that would be leaked, would fall under the user data, in my opinion. But who am I to judge this? I selected to not share any shred of freaking data, and yet it's doing so because it's going to be connecting to a cell tower. And I also want to point out that it will connect to cell tower even if you have no SIM card and no Wi-Fi. It's not showing any reception, but it is connected to some tower right now. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a heads up for privacy purposes. If you want to be completely off the grid, well, flip phones still exist and you can get those. Those at least give you privacy. Those were good old times. Man, 2000s were freaking fantastic. Anyway, besides that, we have the last and worst option, which is install updates and apps. Now, this is just... But I love this. It's basically just straight up telling you, not giving you an option. By continuing, you agree to the devices may also automatically download and install updates and apps. Great. How about go fuck yourself? I don't want to do that. Can I use the device without being absolutely subjected to this piece of shit? Now, you can technically get rid of this if you want to, and I will be talking about it in a second. But basically, this bullshit right here tells you that you will be either installing updates to your device, or also you can stop it from happening. You can turn off, for instance, auto updates in settings, and you can also delete application updates once they get installed, or just prevent them from happening. You have this option. But what you don't have the option to is disable the piece of shit, absolute abominable garbage called over-the-air updates that are coming from Google. Now, this piece of abhorrent shit is going to be responsible in, I think it's September, for installing that absolute middle finger from these cunts that will be basically preventing you from being able to install third-party applications. Or basically being able to install applications outside of Play Store. Because God forbid you would have freedom. Google right here is caring so much for you. With their hand on their heart, they're here saving you from your freedom, because they're basically pretending that they're doing this for your own good to prevent you from installing malware. Now, instead of, I don't know, crazy fucking idea, implementing an antivirus, these absolute pieces of shit have the audacity to just prevent you from installing applications. Shit, it's like if Windows decided, whoa, there is, you know what, on these all websites you can download different programs. Now you can only download from Microsoft Store, and go F yourself if you want to go from somewhere else, because everywhere else you have viruses, and we're just preventing you from installing the viruses. So install it from here or nowhere. A system that was known for being open now is forcing you to do something that you don't want to do. How great! Now, like I said, this piece of shit will be forced to you through OTA services, which are over-the-air kind of updates. Ones that basically your phone gets updated without your permission, knowledge, and no option for you to turn that piece of shit off. There is nothing even in the settings about, I think, over-the-air updates. So that's great. And when Google in September rolls this piece of shit out, by the way, previously you might have heard that Google tried to implement this and then they went back on it. That was like at the end of 2025. After the backlash, they went back on it. But these cons apparently have the idea that, you know what, if we try to do it a couple times and people forget or just kind of accept it, then we will do it. So they kind of went back on it and then went back on it to implementing it again. And that's going to be now in September, supposedly, of 2026. So they're going to basically lock down the OS in ways that kind of blackmail developers to basically give away their personal information. Wow, what a fantastic piece of shit design right here, where developers need to not be anonymous anymore, because God forbid they would want to be anonymous. Now, those Nintendo hit squads have a phone and a number to whoever will create an application, because for you to be able to install application outside of Play Store, the developer now needs to have it signed by Google. And to do so, they now need to basically share all their personal information. Wow. Crazy idea, though. One that apparently Google isn't conceiving right here. What is preventing malware application from also being signed? They can just pay that piece of shit ransom, because that's basically what it is. Google is requiring a ransom for you to have an application signed. Otherwise, no one can install it. And that's already shitty enough. But if you have to use this abhorrent dogshit OS, the one that has literally nothing in common with privacy, why not switch to Apple in this case? At this point, you're basically getting the same phone, because both of them are doing basically the same shit. The only difference is Apple is actually being secure about it and not selling out your data. And when government wants access to it, Apple is kind of like, no, not my problem. Go figure out yourself, FBI. Good luck, though. We're not going to be helping. You know what? I prefer to stand by this than have a lockdown system that acts like Apple, but then sells my data basically to anyone. That sounds like the shittiest parts of both worlds. And I want none of that. Now, with that being said, that piece of shit will be forced to you on supposedly September, but you could potentially be able to stop it. Now, if you download some kind of application that allows you to view background processes that are running at the back of Android, not the like going into apps and seeing all apps. I'm talking about like background processes. You have applications for this. You can find the OT update services in their application or process and just straight up delete it. Now, by deleting it, you're not going to be getting that annoying garbage update, but you're also not going to be getting any kind of security patches. Now, to be fair, I think I'm okay with that. I think that's what I'm going to do to not be forced into this stupidity. I think I prefer to have my phone open to hacks and exploits, because I'm already getting hacked and exploited by Google in this case by having this installed. And just to kind of give you a perspective, this has already kind of happened in some extent to Samsung. So if you ever recently, like at the end of 2025, there was a big drama with the Samsung fridges. Smart fridge that cost like $3,000. Samsung decided that because you have a screen, you're now going to be getting ads on it. Cool that you don't like it. Tough shit. It's a new forced update that it's coming to your fridge, and go piss off if you don't like it. So that's great. Now people that spent $3,000 on a fridge get ads on it. Fantastic. And they couldn't stop it because they connected it to network, and that piece of shit came through also OTA updates. So anyway, let's move on. I have spent enough time raging about this crap. Anyway, next we have welcome to daily wallpapers. So in here we have a couple different examples of daily wallpapers. Now these wallpapers only show up on your lock screen. So when you press the power button, you wake up the screen, but you have, PIN, pattern, or password, it will show you some kind of wallpaper. And every time you put the display to sleep and then wake it up again, it will show you a different wallpaper. It's a pretty nice feature in itself. And here what we have as wallpaper, these are pretty damn nice looking wallpapers. Now this might not be the case every time. Let's kind of accept this and see what we're going to be getting. But I think typically you might be interested in actually not wanting this, which instead of selecting accept, you would have pressed next instead. And reason for that is sometimes you might see wallpapers that you just wouldn't want to have as a visible wallpaper. I have seen, I don't know if this was exactly from Nubia or other brands that have very similar kind of idea, like wallpaper carousel or other ones, where there were wallpapers of brick walls, suitcases, painted fingernails, or for instance, women doing yoga. Now, I have nothing against that, but if you have a significant other, that significant other might have something against having such a wallpaper. So just heads up. Now we'll see if we have anything like that here. Now we have also privacy policy right here from the Nubia, which again we're going to agree right here. Parental control and encryption and erasure. Now this is just general kind of Google info. So data encryption is enabled by default, and this erases data. By default, and this erases data erasure through factory reset. So that is the most retarded way to write this. Okay, so this basically, to say it in a bit more plain way, because like I said, this is a retarded way to write this, your data is encrypted on this device. By resetting it, you remove the encryption and also the data. So boom, that was much simpler. Now, this actually means nothing in reality, because what it says right here is, or what's important is what it doesn't say, which is who has access to this encryption, which one person would be you, as you can access this data on this device at any point. As long as you can, for instance, put in your screen lock, you have access to it. Now, who else might have access to it? Like I said, Google isn't secure. Government might have access to it, as they always do. If they want to, they can access it. Fantastic. So this is as good of telling you that if we consider your data and encryption, phone being like a house, and hey, cool, you locked your front door. Well, you have your SWAT right behind in a back door, just nuking the back door with a battering ram. And hey, cool that you have encryption when anyone can access it with a battering ram. Actually, that's not even a good analogy, because you wouldn't even know that they're accessing it. Let's put it this way. So, you know what? It's as though they have a spare key to your house. They can just go through on the back, open it up, get in, see what's in, take anything that they want, or copy more like, and lock the door behind them. And you wouldn't know any better. So cool that you have this, but what's the purpose of encryption if anyone can access it? It's like having a house that with a key that everyone has the copy of a key to. Next, we have device security. This just kind of touches upon what we have set up and allows us to add additional things like the face recognition or fingerprint. I'm going to be skipping this, so I'm just going to select next. But if you want to, you can just click on either one of those. And next we have system navigation, with gestures being selected by default, but you also have buttons as an option. Now, one more thing that you do have that, well, isn't visible right here is in the settings. After the setup is completed, you can go a little bit more in depth into gestures and buttons, as there's additional settings for those. For instance, circle to search and hiding guide bars and stuff like that. And this finally finishes up the setup. So let's get started and get presented with the home screen. So wallpaper, I guess. Okay. Anyway, so if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.
Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to check the IMEI number of this device. So let's begin with opening the dialer. Here let's tap on keypad and enter the code, which is *# 063. £6. And as you can see by this code, you're provided with both IMEI numbers of this device. So let's tap on OK. And now another way through the settings. So let's open the settings. Here we have to scroll all the way down to find About Phone. And as you can see right here, we've got both IMEI numbers for both SIM slots. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to change the screen timeout on this device. So let's begin with opening the settings, and here we have to, let me go back, here we have to scroll and find the option display. Then let's scroll and find screen timeout. And as you can see here, we've got some options from which you can choose. At the top, relatively short options, like 15 or 30 seconds, and at the bottom, the longest, which is 10 minutes. So just mark the option, go back, and as you can see, it is notified right here, which means that from now on, after 10 minutes of an activity, this device will black out. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to turn off running apps on this device. So let's begin with opening the recents. Depending on what kind of navigation type you've got set, you can do it differently. So if you've got the 3-button navigation, simply tap on the button with a square icon, and if you've got the gestures, swipe your finger from the bottom to the center of your device and hold your finger somewhere there. After releasing, you can see the recents. And now all you have to do is to simply tap on this X button right in the middle. Let's open the recents to check, and here we've got no recent items, which means that we just successfully closed all running apps. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to check the serial number of this device. So the first way is much faster. Let's open the dialer, and here we have to enter the code, which is *##06#. And as you can see at the bottom of this pop-out window, we've got the serial number of this device. So let's tap on OK. And now another way through the settings. So let's open the settings. Here, let me go back. Here we have to scroll all the way down to find About Phone. And then let's tap on Model, which is right here. And as you can see, right here, we've got the serial number of this device. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to reset up preferences on this device. So let's start with opening the settings, and here we have to scroll and find the apps. Then let's tap on See All 58 apps, but of course 58 in my case you can have a different number. And now tap on the 3 dots icon in the right upper corner. Tap on Reset Up Preferences, and here your device is informing you what it will actually reset, so among others disabled app notifications and any permission restrictions. What's more, no worries, you won't lose any app data, so simply tap on Reset Apps, and basically this is it. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to reset camera preferences on this device. So let's start with opening the camera app. And right here we have to open the settings, the general settings. So just tap on this arrow here in the right upper corner and tap on More Settings, so the option next to the gear icon. Now let's simply tap on Reset, and as you can see, the settings have been restored. Basically, all you're doing here is you're removing your personalization. So for example, if you will turn on the grid lines should disappear after resetting, etc, etc. So this is how it works. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to clear credentials on this device. So let's start with opening the settings, and here we have to scroll and find security and privacy. Then let's scroll down and find more security and privacy. Scroll down again and localize encryption and credentials. At the very bottom, almost at the very bottom of the list, we've got the option we're looking for, so let's tap on Clear Credentials and confirm it by tapping on OK. If you've got any kind of screen lock, simply enter to confirm the whole step, and as you can see, we've got this information, and this option is inactive, which means that we just successfully removed all saved certificates. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to change video resolution on this device. So let's start with opening the camera app, and currently we are in the standard photo mode, so let's switch to the video one. That was too fast. Just tap on the video, and if you can see the red color inside the shutter button, it means that for sure you're on the video mode. Now we can take a look at this option bar at the top, and on the second position from the right we've got the resolution, so let's simply tap on it, and in this device we've got three options, so 4K, 1080p which is currently applied, and 720p. So all you have to do is to tap on the option like to use. I'll pick 4K. And as you can see, it is immediately highlighted. It is also notified right here, which means that from now on, our device will use the chosen resolution whilst recording a video. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to reset network preferences on this device. So let's start with opening the settings, and here we have to scroll all the way down to find the system. Then let's tap on Reset Options, and as you can see here we've got Reset Network Settings and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so they are divided, and basically the whole operation looks the same in both. So if you'd like to reset network settings, so mobile network settings, simply tap on it and tap on Reset Settings. Confirm everything with your screen lock. Here we've got also the information that you cannot undo this action, so be aware, and tap on reset if you're ready. Now we've got the information. And it looks pretty similar in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so just tap on the option and tap on reset. And as you can see, we just successfully reset Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. So in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and I've got a question. Did you try to use the game as a wallpaper, and whilst trying to game you've immediately approached the situation where you accidentally locked the screen? So in this video I'd like to share with you how to fix that issue. So all we have to do is to open the settings. Then let's scroll and find the option Features. And here let's scroll and find the option Gesture and Motion. And as you can see on the second position we've got the option Double Tap Screen to Sleep, and all you have to do is to tap on the switcher. You do not have to enter it, just switcher next to this option. And now after getting back you can see that I can tap, double tapped, I don't know, I can tap 3 times, 4 times, do it quite quickly, and the screen won't be turned off. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to set the camera timer on this device. So let's start with opening the camera app. And currently we are in the standard photo mode. So now we have to open the settings. Let's simply tap on this arrow in the right upper corner to open more options. And the second bar right here is connected with the timer. In this device we've got 4 different options, so off, 10, 5 and 3 seconds delay. So all you have to do is to tap on the option like to use. I'll pick 10 seconds delay, so let me tap on it. It is immediately highlighted. So let's go back and tap on the shutter button. And from now on, our device will count down from 10, 5 or 3, depending on which option you've chosen. And after that time, it will take a photo. To turn off the timer, you have to do the same, so just open the settings again and tap on off. And from now on, your device will take photos right after touching the shutter button. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to show battery percentage on the status bar in this device. So let's begin with opening the settings, and here we have to scroll and find notifications and status bar. Now let's go to the status bar icons, and here we've got the battery percentage, so let's tap. So in this device we've got, we've got 4 different options, so do not display battery percentage at all. So we've got only the indicator. We can display it inside the battery icon, so it's rather small. We can display it also outside the battery icon. It is displayed on the left and it's quite big, so it is visible. Or do not display battery icon at all. However, at the same time, we will not display the battery percentage, which means that we do not have any kind of notification, any kind of information about our current battery status. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to soft reset or actually force restart this device. So the soft reset or force restart operation will be useful if for some reason your device stops working properly. So for example, you cannot swipe, you cannot open something, you cannot close the app, and thanks to it, it should fix the problem. So all you have to do to forcefully restart your device is to press the power button, which is located right here, and press it long enough until you'll see the black screen and then the developer's logo. So let me try to do it. Let me press this button and keep pressing, even though you can see that we've got this restart option or power off option. Just keep pressing. We're pretending that nothing's working. We've got a black screen, which is a really good sign. So keep pressing. I felt the vibration. I can see the developer's logo, so this is the best moment to simply release your finger. And now simply wait until your device will be powered on again. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to check for the software updates on this device. So first of all, make sure that you've got the internet connection because it is required, and I highly recommend using Wi-Fi instead of mobile data, and then we can open the settings. Right here we have to scroll all the way down, and right now we've got the first sign that the system update is available. We've got this red notification, so whenever you will see that, you can be sure that there is the update pending. But obviously if you do not have that kind of notification, you can still open the system and then go to system update. Basically your device will check for the updates, and you can meet 2 different scenarios. So this is the first one where there is an update. You can check the information about it, what has been fixed, what has been added, and then you can simply tap on download and then restart, because as you can see in my case, the update was downloaded. And the second scenario is where your device is actually up to date and there's nothing to download and you're good to go. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to clear the browser on this device. So let's start with opening the browser. In my case it will be Google Chrome, but no worries, this operation is pretty similar in all of the browsers which are commonly used, so I'm pretty sure that you will be able to figure out how to do it on your own browser. Okay. So we are finally in the browser. Let's tap on the 3 dots icon in the right upper corner and then tap on delete browsing data. So here we've got some basic options like visited websites, opened tabs, cookies, cache, and other site data. Here we can change the time range from last 15 minutes to, for example, all time, and then tap on delete data. However, if you'd like to remove some advanced browsing history, just tap on more options, and here we've got them. So saved passwords, autofill from data, and site settings. So if you wish to remove something, just make sure that it is marked. I will remove everything, as you can see. We can change the time range here. Just choose all time or any other time range you'd like to use, and then tap on delete data. As you can see here, we've got this information, which means that we just successfully removed everything. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to change date and time on this device. So let's start with opening the settings, and here we have to scroll all the way down to find the options system. Then let's tap on date and time. And here we've got some options which are currently inactive. So to be able to change date, time, and the time zone manually, we have to turn off all of those switchers. So now we can freely tap on date and change the date just by swiping. Tap on OK. The same situation with the time. Just tap on it and here swipe to change. The time zone, just tap on this option, tap on region, and here we've got all of the regions that we can choose, so find yours and then tap on it, it will be immediately set. And here we can change the time format, so we can either use the automatic one, which is turned on by using the switcher, or we can turn it off and manually decide. So we can have 24-hour format or 12-hour format. It's up to you. So this is the whole manual customization of date and time. Of course, we can go back to all previous settings just by tapping on those switchers right here. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to block a number on this device. So let's start with opening the dialer. The contact list. We will start with blocking a contact, and after that I'll show you how to do it using the settings. Find the contact that you'd like to block and tap on it, and here scroll down and find block numbers. Your device will ask you if you really want to do it, because you will no longer receive any incoming calls or text messages from this number, so just tap on block. And as you can see here, we've got this characteristic icon, and it means that it has been blocked successfully. Of course, you can unblock it the same way right here, but let me leave it like this. We will check whether it will appear on the blacklist. So to open the blacklist, we have to tap on the three dots icon here and tap on the settings. Now let's go to blocked numbers, and this is our blacklist. That's the number we blocked from our contacts, so the previous option also works. Here we can tap on add a number and enter the number manually, like that, and tap on block. And your device will immediately add it to the blacklist. Moreover, you can block all calls from unidentified callers just by tapping on the switcher here. It's up to you. You can turn it off the same way. And if you'd like to unblock the number, just tap on this X button right next to it and tap on unblock. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to enable the developer options on this device. So let's start with opening the settings, and here we have to scroll all the way down to find About Phone. Now let's scroll down a little bit and find Build Number, and keep tapping on it until you'll see the information that you're in the developer mode. If you've got any kind of screen lock, simply enter to confirm the whole step, and now we are a developer. So let's go back to the general list of the settings and tap on the system. Here, let's open developer options, and as you can see right here, we've got plenty of advanced settings which we can customize. Basically everything works the same, just like in the regular settings. So if you've got an option with a switcher, simply tap on it to turn it on and tap on it again to turn it off. Moreover, you can, if you've got the options without the switcher, simply tap on them to open more options to choose from. If you're done with customization of developer options, you can turn them off just by tapping on the switcher at the very top of the list, and most of the options will be inactive, not all of them, but most of them, and the developer options should disappear from the system settings. And as you can see, after getting back, they are not visible. But of course, no worries, you can customize them again. Just go back to the build number step and keep tapping. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to allow unknown sources on this device. So this option is crucial if you'd like to download something from other source than the Play Store. And maybe not all of the things, I mean like photos, videos, whatever, but the apps, because the Play Store is designed to be the primary source of the apps. So to be able to download it from any other source, we have to allow our device to do that. So let's open the settings. Right here we have to scroll and find the apps. Then let's scroll and find Special App Access, and scroll down again to find Install Unknown Apps. So right here we've got the list of apps which are allowed or not allowed to install some content, and of course we can change it. So for example, let's pretend I'd like to download the app from Chrome from a specific website. So just find the Chrome as an app, and then tap on the switcher next to allow from the source. And after getting back, you can see that the Chrome is now allowed to install some content. Be aware, because you're doing it on your own responsibility, third-party apps and browsers and websites, etc. are not verified. So you may put your data and actually hold the device at risk. So remember about that and choose the apps wisely. Of course, you can always remove previously granted permissions. Just tap on the app and tap on the switcher. And now you can see that the Chrome is not allowed to install anything. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to change the language on this device. So let's begin with opening the settings, and here we have to scroll all the way down to find the system. Then let's tap on languages, so the second option, and tap on system languages at the top. Now let's simply tap on add a language and find the language that you'd like to apply. After finding, just tap on it. Now we have to either choose the option to set as default, so apply our new language immediately, or stay current, so our language will be added to the previous list. However, it will not be changed. So I highly recommend to simply tap on this first option, set as default. And as you can see, after getting back, we've got our new language applied, and it is also at the top of the list. And from now on, obviously, the whole system will be displayed in the chosen language. If you've got more than one language added right here, all you have to do to change them is to tap on it and hold it, and then drag it to the first position. So I'll apply English. Now, simply to confirm, just tap on this right option, I mean the option which is on the right, and we've got English applied. If you'd like to remove the languages, tap on the three dots icon, tap on remove, and mark the languages that you'd like to delete. And tap on the trash bin icon. Tap on remove, and we've got only one language applied. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to change the ringtone on this device. So let's begin with opening the settings, and here in this general list we have to scroll and find the option sound and vibration. Then let's scroll down to find this ringtone section and tap on phone ringtone. As you can see, the phone ringtone is divided between two different SIM cards, which means that you can set a completely different ringtone for the first one and different for another one. So let me do it for the first SIM card. It doesn't really matter, it works the same. As you can see, we've got same same options. All right, so those three are, I would say, kind of highlighted from all of the ringtones that we've got applied, that we've got installed. So let me simply go to all ringtones, and as you can see, this is the full list of pre-installed ringtones. And you can, of course, tap on music here, and if you've got something, for example, downloaded, I believe, it should appear somewhere here. But let me choose something from the pre-installed ringtones, and in order to listen how the particular ringtone sounds, you have to simply tap on it. Yes, and this is how it works. So let's pretend I'd like to set this tequila as my phone ringtone. So just make sure that it is marked and tap on OK. As you can see, it is notified here and also here, and it means that from now on, our device will use the chosen ringtone to notify us about the incoming call. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to update the apps on this device. So let's begin with opening the Google Play Store, and be aware, because you will be able to follow all of my steps if you've got your Google account added to the device. If not, you can do it right after entering the Play Store or using the settings. You can check our tutorial of how to add or remove a Google account in this device. Now let me quickly pause the video and I will come back in the Google Play Store. Alright, so here we are, and all we have to do here is to tap on the circle in the right upper corner, which is our account. Then let's go to Manage Apps and Device, and as you can see here, we've got this whole Updates Available section, so let's tap on it. And right here, we've got the list of all apps that we can update, and basically it depends what you prefer to do. So you can either tap on Update All, and your device will simply download all of the updates, and then the newest versions will be not updated, but installed. Or you can simply go through the list, find the apps that you'd like to update, and simply tap on Update next to it. So for example, this one. That was probably too fast for this device for some reason. Or maybe it just waits. Let me I'm not really sure what happened. It should normally... Oh, okay. So it was just too fast for him or for it. So as you can see, all of the apps will appear at the top. Your device will download them, and after that they will be successfully installed. So basically this is how it works. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to check the total screen time on this device. So first of all, let's open the settings. Right here we have to scroll all the way down to find digital well-being and parental controls. And as you can see right here, we've got the graph which will show us for how long we've been using this device today. So in my case, it is 37 minutes, most of the time I've spent on the settings. We've got also the unlocks and notifications count. So you can tap inside the graph and you will be transferred to the dashboard where you can check the total screen time in particular days of the week. You can compare them, of course. You can tap on the specific day and check further details. Under it, you've got the list of apps which you've been using with specific time you've spent on them. You can also tap on the app, and again, you've got the dashboard, but this time it is tightly connected with this one app. Moreover, here we've got some ways to disconnect, for example, app limits. I will not discuss all of them, but highly recommend to check them. So in app limits, we can simply limit the app. So let's pretend that I'm spending too much time on the camera. Just tap on it, tap on app timer, and here we can set it. So for example, if I will set it for 30 minutes, it means that I can use the app for 30 minutes during a day. After that, the app will be blocked. The app limit will reset at midnight, and tomorrow again I will be able to use it for 30 minutes. So highly recommend to check that kind of option, because it can really improve your digital digital well-being and limit the time you're spending on specific apps. If you wish to remove it, simply tap on this trash bin icon and the app limit or app timer has been deleted. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to change the 3-button navigation into the gestures and the other way around. So let's begin with opening the settings, and here we have to scroll and find features. Then let's tap on system navigation at the top, and as you can see here we've got our 2 options. So if you've got the gestures, you'd like to set the 3-button navigation, simply tap on this first option and your device will immediately apply the back button, recent and the home button. You can tap on this edit icon, settings, and reorder back button and the recents. You can decide whether you want to always show the navigation bar and whether you'd like to use circle to search. So basically this is how to set the 3-button navigation. If you'd like to set the gestures, just tap on this option here and you can customize it. Just go to the settings. So you can either display or hide the bottom indicator, so this line at the bottom of the screen. You can avoid misoperation by swipe gesture. You can use circle to search. However, be aware, it will be active only if you've got the bottom indicator turned on. So be aware about that. Back sensitivity, you can change it. And to be honest, I highly recommend to get back to this option after a while of using the gestures. So you will be able to decide whether you need the sensitivity to be higher or lower. So in order to get back to the previous page, we have to swipe our finger from the side to the center. And if you can see this arrow, simply release the finger, and the same situation from the right side. If you'd like to get back directly to the home page, swipe your finger from the bottom to the center and make sure that this motion is quick and short. So something like that. And if you'd like to open the recents, repeat the gesture. So from the bottom to the center, but hold your finger somewhere here like that. And here we've got the recents. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to add or remove a Google account in this device. So let's start with opening the settings. And here we have to scroll down and find passwords and accounts. So right here we've got our, I've got my Google account currently added to the device, and this is the best place to remind and actually indicate that you need to have the internet connection to be able to add or remove a Google account. So first of all, make sure that you've got one, and then we can start and we will begin with removing the account. So let me simply tap on it, and here tap on remove account. Tap on remove account again. Tap on OK to confirm, and if you've got any kind of screen lock, you need to enter it to confirm the whole step. And as you can see, our account immediately disappeared from the list. Of course, you can add new one. Just tap on add account and choose Google. Make sure that you've got the internet connection because it is required, and of course, enter your screen lock to confirm everything. So here in this step, we can either create a new account if you do not have your own yet, or simply type your email or phone. So let me do it. Okay, and tap on next. So right here, we have to enter the password. So simply do it and tap on next. Here we have to decide who will be using this device, so just mark the option and tap on next. Google Terms of Service and Privacy Policy, you can tap on them to learn more and tap on I agree after reading. And as you can see, we just successfully added our Google account to this device. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to enable the night light or eye comfort mode. So let's start with opening the settings. We'll begin with the customization of this mode, and after that I'll show you much faster access to it. So let's scroll and find the display. Now let's tap on the nightlight. As you can see, it is highlighted here. So let's tap on it and tap on the switcher to turn it on immediately. Now you can see that the screen turns a little bit yellowish or amber. It is in order to filter the blue light. What's more, it will be much easier for you to look at the screen at the dim light. So if you're a night owl, then I highly recommend to use this mode. Here we can change the intensity. So by going to the left, we can make it cooler. It is, I would say, invisible. There are no difference, or maybe there is, but basically it is invisible in comparison to the right option. So at the highest level of the filter, right now we can see that it is orangish. We can also reduce white point, so basically it will reduce the contrast and the brightness of the screen, so you can also customize it. And now you have to turn this option on manually, so you need to find the toggle, tap on it and turn it on, but you can also make it automatically. Just tap on the switcher here sorry, and here we can either turn it on at custom time, so you can choose the start and the end time. Simply tap on this option and choose the start and the end time according to your needs, and of course your device will apply the mode accordingly. Or you can turn it on from sunset to sunrise, and here your device will automatically decide when the sunsets and sunrises are. It is location based. Alright, so this is the manual customization of eye comfort mode, and if you wish to have much faster access, you have to simply unroll the top bar. Let's unroll it fully and localize the eye comfort mode, which is not visible right here, but no worries. All you have to do is to tap on this edit icon in the right upper corner, so just tap on the pencil icon. And now we have to scroll to this section and localize the nightlight option, which is right here. So just tap on it and hold it, and then drag it to this first position. Then let's go back, and now we can check. As you can see, the nightlight is visible, so simply tap on it to turn it on and tap on it again to turn it off. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to add the photo to contact in this device. So let's begin with opening your contact list, for example with the usage of the dialer. Just tap on the contacts, and here we've got our list. So find the contact that you'd like to edit and tap on it. And now tap on this edit icon, so pencil icon. Here we have to simply tap on add picture, and we've got different sections from which we can choose the photo from. So we can open our own gallery. We can also tap on the camera and take a photo of someone who's right in front of us. Google Photos are backed up photos, so I will just omit that. We've got the monogram, so we can choose 1 or 2 letters. You can change the background color. We've got plenty of options here. You can also change the font. You can use emoji, so just tap on this option, tap on the circle here, and you can choose from the full list of available emojis. So find something interesting if you wish to use this option. I don't know. Alright, maybe ring. So here we've got the ring, and we've got an additional option. Now we've got the emoji, and after tapping on this switcher we can make it monochrome. So as you can see, it is more icon-like. And we've got also illustrations, which are free of charge, and they are available online, so make sure that you've got the internet connection. And basically, you can choose something from here. If you do not have the photo, you don't feel like you're using monogram, so you still have illustrations. After tapping on the specific illustration, you will have some presets, so you can change the colors. You can also crop the picture, same as the photo, or yes, the photo from the gallery, or taken immediately by opening the camera. You can zoom in or out the photo, you can change the position of it, and thanks to it you can decide what you will see after saving the whole contact, because this highlighted circle, I'm not sure if it is visible, maybe right here, this highlighted circle is responsible for it. So position it just like you want to, and then tap on choose. Tap on save in the right upper corner, and this is how our contact will look like. Of course, you will be able to see this photo on the contact list, and for example during all incoming calls from that specific number. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to add the fingerprint to this device. So let's begin with opening the settings. And here we have to scroll down and find the option security and privacy. Then let's scroll and find device unlock and tap on fingerprint and face unlock. So first of all, we have to enter our screen lock if you've got one, in order to confirm everything. And if you do not have the screen lock, your device will ask you to enter it, set it right now. Because if for some reason the fingerprint sensor won't work, then you will still be able to unlock your device with the pattern pin or password. So let's simply do it. And let's choose fingerprint. Here we've got the privacy data. So just tap on done. Obviously you can read it, and you should. But let me just tap on register. Here we've got the tip, because if you're using the sticker, the screen protector, it might affect the fingerprint sensor. So my tip is to first of all apply the screen protector, and after that try to add the fingerprint, not the other way around. So tap on OK, and here we've got our fingerprint sensor. So let me put my finger, and now we have to do it multiple times in order to add the fingerprint fully. So try to catch every part of it for better recognition. Your device will of course remind you if you're using the same area twice. So just read the instructions and tap on OK to confirm. So as you can see here, we've got our fingerprint section. We can add up to 5 different fingerprints. This is the fingerprint we just added. We can rename it or remove it, add another fingerprint, and confirm a fingerprint. So basically, if you've got a lot of fingerprints, you can check which one is which. They will be highlighted. Here we've got also the functions, so we can decide for what we would like to use our fingerprint for. So unlock device, access and control apps, access private space, and a simple touch. Fingerprint animation, so if you are the person who likes to customize, you can do it here. Just tap on the option and tap on apply, and you can decide whether you want to show the fingerprint icon when the screen is off. Alright, so let me lock the device and let's check if it is working. So let me put my finger on the sensor, and our device is unblocked, which means that we just successfully added the fingerprint. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up. Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to change the wallpaper on this device. So let's begin with opening the settings, and here we have to scroll and find theme and personalization. Let's simply tap on this wallpaper section, and as you can see, we've been transferred to the full list of available wallpapers from which we can choose. And let me explain, because we've got a lot of things going on here. So after scrolling, we can find some pre-installed wallpapers from which we can choose. And right here, we've got those which are static, which are regular wallpapers. Here we've got also the Eye of the Universe, which means that the wallpaper is animated. Let me go back. And at the top, right here, we've got something called inspired wallpapers, where we've got games that we can apply as our wallpaper. So for example, we can set, for example, I don't know, maybe this game where we are simply dividing the screen here, which is more like Flappy Bird. Here some kind of platform games, here Snake, Tetris, etc. A lot of things to do. So let me maybe start with a static one. I will show you how to apply it, and after that I'll show you how to apply the game. So let me pick maybe this one. So just tap on the static wallpaper which you'd like to use and tap on set as. Now you can decide where you want to set it, so as a home screen, lock screen, or both, and I will pick both options. So let me tap on it, and that's it. the wallpaper has been played successfully. So as you can see, it's quite easy. Moreover, sorry, I forgot to mention that you can also tap on this picture icon and you'll be transferred to your own photos. You can obviously set them as a wallpaper too. If you'd like to set the game, simply go to Inspired Wallpapers, choose the game. So I'll pick maybe this one or this one. Just tap on the wallpaper. Of course, here you can check how it will work. So this is... I forgot how to use it. Oh, I forgot that we need to tap, sorry. So we can simply change the platforms just by tapping. So this is how it works. And for example, let's pretend I'd like to use this game. So just tap on apply. Here we've got the tip. So just tap on apply. And as you can see, the wallpaper has been played successfully. In this type of wallpaper, we simply have to tap on this play icon in order to start the game. But as you can see here, we've got this double tap option turned on. But basically, this is how it works. We just need to tap to do something. But of course, during playing a game, we can also swipe in order to get to a specific app. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up.
Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I will show you how you can boot this device into safe mode. So, to get started, we will need to turn off our device by holding the power button and selecting power off from the options. Give it a moment, the device will turn off, and when it does, we're now going to hold the power button, and I believe it's going to be volume up. To be fair, I am kind of guessing at the moment, I don't remember. So we're going to try volume up first, and if that doesn't work, it's most likely going to be volume down. Now also let go of the power button when you see the Nubia logo, and well, we are in the recovery mode. It's not the one that I was hoping for, but it is there. So we do have enter safe mode in here. Now, let me just bring up the exposure a little bit so you can see all the options. Sorry for the absolutely blown out background right here, but it's pretty dim. Let me display right here. So you can navigate using volume buttons, as you can see. And power button will be used to confirm whatever is selected. So with that in mind, select enter safe mode and confirm that. Now this will reboot the device and bring it into the said mode. And as you can see, we are now in safe mode. Now, in this mode, only the pre-installed applications will work. Any app that you have installed yourself after the setup, and even sometimes some of the applications that come seemingly with the device will be temporarily disabled. That also includes widgets, as you can see right here, they don't load. And on the second page, we have several applications like TikTok, Booking, Facebook, and so on that will not run in this mode. They look obviously semi-transparent, grayed out. If you try to open them up, you get a pop-up that downloaded apps are disabled in this mode. So from here, you can troubleshoot your device. If you have some kind of application that is causing you problems, this would allow you to manage it from here. And once you're done doing so, to get back to the normal mode, you can just hold again the power button and select restart. And this will reboot the device, and once it boots back up, it automatically will enter normal mode. And there we go. So, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.
Hi everyone, in front of me I've got Nubia Neo 3 GT, and let me share with you how to turn off ads and their personalization. So the first thing I highly recommend to do is to set private DNS. So let's open the settings. Here we have to scroll up to find connected devices. Then let's tap on private DNS and choose private DNS provider hostname. Here in this section you can enter dns.adguard.com without spaces, obviously, and tap on save. Thanks to using that, your device will simply limit the advertisements. Another thing I highly recommend to do will not necessarily change the number of the advertisements you get, but it will change the personalization. So let's scroll all the way down to find Google. Let's tap and go to all services. Here, let's scroll and find ads and tap on it. And here we've got something which is called advertising ID. And basically, it means that your device is simply personalizing the advertisements based on what you're looking for or searching for. So for example, you wanted to buy a lamp, so you started to look for it. And you can see that after that, your device will simply show you the advertisements with the same lamp you were looking for with the different versions of that kind of lamp, different offers, different shops, etc. So this is how the advertising ID works. So first of all, you can reset advertising ID, tap on confirm, and then delete advertising ID. And thanks to it, your advertisements will not be that much personalized, which is also great. Another thing I highly recommend to do is to limit the notifications. So for example, if you're receiving a lot of advertisements right here in the notification center, you can simply turn them off because usually they are coming from a specific app. So localize the app, tap on it and hold it, and then go to app info. Now let's go to notifications. And right here, we've got the list of categories of the notifications that we usually receive from this app. And what I recommend here to do is to simply find the category which is somehow connected with the advertisement. So for example, in my case, payments, deals, and recommendations. So just tap on the switcher next to it to turn it off, and thanks to it, limit the amount of advertisements. Of course, if you do not need the notifications from this app at all, I highly recommend to simply turn off all of them just by tapping on this switcher, thanks to which you will not be disturbed. And as a last resort, I also highly recommend to check for the ad blocks, not only those which are specifically for the browsers, but also those for the Android system or the content blockers. Highly recommend to check it in the Play Store. There are plenty of options to choose from. Alright, so that will be all. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and leave the thumbs up.
Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo GT3 or 3GT, and today I'll be showing you how you can insert SIM card into this device. So this will only show you how to insert a SIM card, not an SD card, as this device does not have any kind of tray for SD card. So the only thing you can pop in here are dual SIM. Now, in any case, to get started, you will want to grab a SIM eject tool, which should come provided with the device, and the box will look something akin to this one, though typically it will look a little bit cheaper, as companies don't expend too much cost on these. And you probably should expect something closer to this crappy little looking one. So, in any case, once you have this, or if you can't find it, you could actually use something like a paper clip. Straighten out one of the ends, and as long as it doesn't have that plastic wrap around the metal part, if it does, you can cut it off, and it should work just as well as the actual tool. So, once you have either one of those, you can then pop out the tray. Now, we do first need to take off the case, if you have one on. I do. And you can see that the tray is at the bottom of the device. Now there's two insert areas that you might think actually are insert areas. One, the one between, is actually a microphone. Now if you poke it, like for instance right now, this won't do anything. It's not actually poking the mic, as it's, I believe, offset. But in any case, the one that you want to utilize is part of this cutout where the pin is right now. And from here, you just want to push it in, like so. And this allows you to pull out the tray. Now on the tray, like I mentioned, you have space for two SIM cards. So neatly enough, it actually says that sim1 is 2-screen, so the same side. So this would basically imply top side, which is pretty nice. And then bottom one, sim number 2. Now, where you place your SIM card might be somewhat important to you, assuming this device supports eSIM. If it has eSIM support, then sim number 2 can always be turned off as a physical spot, and instead of using a physical card at the bottom, you can add eSIM. But the moment you switch that on, this would disable this tray no matter if there's something in there or not. Basically, if you place a card once you turn eSIM on, if you have a card in here, it's just going to be ignored. So make sure that if you're planning to use one of each, that you always use the top tray instead. Now, if you're not planning to turn on eSIM, this doesn't matter. You can place your card on the top or bottom, and or both trays. It doesn't matter. So in any case, once the card is in place, make sure it's clipped all the way in. It should be laying flush on the tray and should not be falling out of the tray if you flip it upside down. And then just pop it back into your device. When you do, this card, there we go, should start working right away. Hence why it's prompting me to insert my SIM pin. And my pin for the phone is exactly the same, so let's do that. And voila, the card is now in, unlocked, and ready to go. So, if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I will show you how you can put this device into fastboot mode. So, to get started, you will first want to turn off your device by holding the power button. Now when you do, any kind of Google Gemini that will show up right here, ignore it and continue holding it till you have this visible. From here, select power off. When the phone turns off, it will be indicated with the phone's vibration. It's still kind of loading, powering off. There we go, there was a vibration. So when you feel that, you can then hold power button and volume up at the same time. And when you see the Nubia logo, let go of the power button. And once the recovery mode shows up as well, you can let go of the volume up. Now in here, let me first increase the exposure, just so we can clearly see the other options here. So, to navigate through this menu, we will need to use a volume button. So volume down will navigate down, up will go up, and power button will be used to confirm whatever is selected with that blue line. So with that in mind, we can select either one of the two options, either bootloader or fastboot mode to enter fastboot mode. I know the bootloader isn't labeled as fastboot mode, but it is the same mode. Now I'll first start off with this one. So once it's selected, I'm going to confirm it with the power button. And the reason I'm starting off with this one is because this one actually has a menu, just like recovery mode. So you navigate here the same way, using volume buttons and power button. And in here we have a couple options like reboot system now, which takes us back to Android. We can enter recovery mode, which is the previous page that we had. Reboot to bootloader. This is the other fastboot mode, and power off. So just to show you this, I'm going to select bootloader right here, and I'm going to confirm it. And you're going to see that this is also another fastboot mode. I am actually, before I was just kind of freehanding this, but you know what, let's zoom in. So you can kind of see right here, it says, kind of barely you can see OT, but it's BOT right here. So that stands for, obviously, fast boot mode. Now, if it would have been bootloader, obviously it would have said something like load at the end, but that's definitely not a D at the end right here. So yeah, it's basically under fast boot mode. Anyway, let me unzoom now. There we go. So to leave this mode, we will need to hold power button. And when I hold it for like 5 to 10 seconds, basically as long as it takes for the screen to turn off. There we go. When it turns off, you can let go of the button. And wait for the device to boot back up into Android. And there we go. So, if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I will show you how you can boot this device into a recovery mode. So, to get started, you will first want to turn off your device by holding the power button. Now, if you start holding it and get Gemini or any kind of AI crap show up, ignore it and continue holding it till you have this visible. From here, select power off. Now, when the device turns off, which is indicated by a phone's vibration, you can hold power button and the volume up at the same time. In a moment when you see the Nubia logo, let go of the power button. And when you have the recovery mode visible, you can also let go of the volume up. Now we'll increase right now the exposure on the camera just so you can see the rest of the options right here. There we go. So while you're in recovery mode, you will need to use volume buttons to navigate up or down. So volume down actually navigates down, and up obviously up, and power button will confirm whatever is selected with this blue line. So going over the options that we have right here, we have things like reboot system now, which takes us back to Android, reboot to bootloader, and enter fastboot mode, which both presumably will take us to the same place, which would be fastboot mode. Though this one looks a little bit different than the one above. I will show actually both of them. Next we have apply updates from SD card, even though the phone doesn't have an SD tray. Wipe data, factory reset, enter safe mode, view logs, run tests, and power off. So anyway, showing off the two different options. So we have the fastboot mode. This one will be one that has actual options, I presume. Yep, it does. So in here, just like before, you can use the volume buttons to navigate and the power button to confirm. And lastly, we have the reboot to bootloader. Like I mentioned, this is also fastboot mode, most likely. So let's check power button, and it is. Now this will be barely visible, so I'm going to bring it up closer. Come on, there we go. Now I'm trying to keep my hand as steady as I can. But basically what you see right here is a BOT mode, or it's cut out because, you know, apparently manufacturers or Android hasn't figured out that most phones nowadays have rounded corners on of the screen. So, you know, why not just shift it, you know, either more towards the middle or lower? Crazy ideas there, right? But hey, what can you expect from Android? They're in the business of getting your data. Anyway, so this is basically another fastboot mode. If it would have been bootloader, obviously it would end with something like load, not BOT. So this is another fastboot mode, but this one, as you clearly can see, doesn't have any options. So to leave this one, you will need to hold power button. Now we do need to hold it for solid like 5 to 10 seconds, basically till the screen turns off, at which point you can let go of it. Now the device will automatically boot up on its own back into Android. And there we go. So, if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I will show you how you can enable and set up your Do Not Disturb mode. So, to get started, you will want to swipe down from the top of your screen, like so, and then swipe down once more to extend the list of visible toggles. Now here, we'll be looking for the Do Not Disturb mode, which usually looks like a moon icon. And if you can't find it on any of the pages, it will mean that we need to add it ourselves to this list. And we can do so by clicking on this pencil, and then scroll down below the hold and drag section. So anything below here are toggles that I can add. And I can already see Do Not Disturb mode right here. So once I see it, I'm just going to hold it, and the text right here will change when I do. There we go. So I can now drag it above, drop it, go back, and you can see I have access to it. So from here, once it's in this list, we want to hold it the first time around as well. And this will quickly take us to the settings. And in here we have a couple options that we can change in terms of how this mode will run or what it will do. So first thing is just a toggle on and off. We don't need to really talk about that one. Next we have the automation. So this will allow you to select a schedule, and this will mean that, for instance, the one that is right here allows the device, if I turn it on, to automatically for me turn the mode on and off at 10 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, and turn it off at 7 a.m. Wait, is that Saturday or Sunday? Oh no, this is all week, sorry. So it's kind of like weirdly shown. So yeah, this is all week long actually, which you can see by clicking right here and seeing all the days of the week. You can also create your own. So you'd set one up right here. And this might be something that you want to utilize, or you can also edit this one, as when you toggle on this mode, it will run indefinitely. So I'll be showing you how you can circumvent that just in case. But let's first also see the other options. So we have allow messages from and calls from. So you can choose each one of them independently with 4 options: anyone, contacts, favorites, and no one. And calls has the same thing, but calls has additional option as a checkbox right below. Repeat calls. So if someone calls you twice within a 15-minute period, you'll be, I believe, notified, or the call will go through, completely ignoring what the option was selected right here. So you might have said that not anyone, but no one is able to call you. But if they do this within that period time frame, they will be bypassing this option. So anyway, to turn on this mode, once it's all set up, you just find this toggle usually and simply tap on it to toggle it on. And when you do, you will also need to remember to turn it off yourself. Otherwise, this mode will run indefinitely in the background. But what you can also do instead, to kind of prevent that from happening, meaning running in the background indefinitely, is to select a single schedule that is running all week long. Start somewhere that you won't really mind it running. So for me, that is in the middle of the night. Let's just say something like 2 a.m. There we go. And run till 2:01 a.m. So for a single minute. I don't need it any longer. And the reason for that is, when enabled, I'm going to disable this one. So when enabled, by the way, you can have multiple running at the same time. So I'm just turning it off for kind of, to give you kind of clarity. But when enabled manually, so let's say I do it right now. There we go. This mode will run at this moment till 2 a.m. or 2:01 more precisely. But at 2 a.m., this schedule will try to turn on Do Not Disturb mode, but because it's already enabled, it won't really do anything. But a minute later, because it is enabled, it's going to turn it off, as it's supposed to turn it off at 2:01. So when I forget to turn it off myself throughout the day, it will run till the end of the day for me, but somewhere throughout the night, it's going to turn itself off, meaning that the next day, it's back to, well, functioning normally until I, again, turn it on myself. So just a little bit of a kind of precaution just in case. And you don't need to worry about this as it's only running for 1 minute. Even if you, for instance, remember about this mode and you go back in here and turn it off, it will turn on at 2 a.m. and then turn off 1 minute later anyway. But because it's somewhere in the middle of the night, it doesn't really matter that much. Or that's kind of why I set up this time, as it won't really interfere with my life at all. So there we go. This is basically everything that you should know. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I will show you how you can capture a screenshot on this device. So, to get started, you will want to open up the content that you wish to capture. Now, I will be using home screen as an example for this, so home screen is already visible on my screen. Make sure that what you want to capture on your screenshot is right now visible on that screen. When it is, simply press the power button and volume down at the same time. You get a pop-up with scroll and share options. Now, scroll option was grayed out for me because there's nothing really to scroll down on right here. But if you opened up something like settings, in which you can scroll down, you could capture a long version of a screenshot. Now, I do want to point out one thing. You won't be able to always capture a screenshot. There are certain applications that block this feature. Now, the feature, I think it's called the drawing over other apps, but that doesn't matter how it's exactly called. But what it kind of pointing that out, because applications that block the drawing over other apps will basically block screenshots and screen recordings from being captured or taken while that application is open. Now, screen recordings get blocked in a way that basically when you record a screen, all you end up seeing when that application is open, and only when it's open, is a black screen. Now, for screenshots, it's just flat out gonna block it and give you a pop-up that you can't do this. And this kind of design is made for privacy and security purposes. And to give you an example of this, if you consider something like your bank application, in which you put in your PIN, passwords to access it, if you had some kind of malware that uses a feature like screen recording or screenshots to see what kind of pins you have for it, you can imagine how that would be detrimental to the security of your bank. So therefore, bank blocks the drawing over other applications. Therefore, screenshots cannot be taken in it, which you probably at one point already experienced it. And luckily, bank applications do give you alternatives to capture, for instance, confirmations to payments, as that's usually what you're going to try to capture as a screenshot in there anyway. Now, where this is kind of used in a crappy way is it's basically with streaming platforms, something like Netflix, Spotify, and so on. These applications are also ones that come pre-installed with the most devices, apparently not here though, surprisingly enough. And I personally find this to be absolutely unacceptable that an application that usually I didn't even install myself can change how my device functions. As inherently it does change how your device functions. Just because you open up an application, it shouldn't be able to block it willy-nilly just because it wants it. You never gave it permission to it, and the application never asked for that permission. And whatever the explanation here is, I'm going to show you ways to circumvent this, just not really using the set application. You have to use something else. But I'm going to be showing you something else that you can use to do this. But I'm doing this because I find that application like Netflix, in my case, which has the ability to block it without my permission or even asking for it, I just cannot stand for this. And any kind of text of this being okay by application in terms of service or privacy policy, whatever the shit they want, is completely falling out the window because I never agreed to this. I don't own, nor have I ever did own, a Netflix account. Therefore, that can be shoved up their ass and disposed of without any kind of, problem. And the application doesn't give you this pop-up when you're opening it up. And you don't need to be logged into the application for it to be open or agree to anything to open it. And yet it can block your screenshots, screen recordings. So because of that, up yours, Netflix, I'm going to show ways around it. And obviously that also goes for other ones like Spotify or so on. Though typically I think you might want to capture screenshots in applications like this for shows or movie content kind of thing, right? So in this case, you can navigate to your browser. And I used to show one of the sites that was pstream.mov, but I think because I was showing it, possibly that got banned, or basically they got ceased. And this is kind of a letter under the bullshit pretenses that they're basically distributing pirated content, which they're not. I mean, from what I understand, they're not actually distributing it. They're as much distributing it as a browser is, because you can navigate on a browser to that place to view it. That's basically equivalent of it. They're just doing the same thing in a neatly organized way. Google doesn't get a cease and desist for that, so I am not sure why a website should. Anyway, so I'll be saying that you can check for alternatives to something like this. And Reddit will be your friend. Look for this, find alternatives to this, and you're good to go. Now, I don't want to really drop any other names, to be honest, as you will find on Reddit an entire list of this, to be completely fair. But this one, because I was showing it, well, you can see that's how it looks like. Before, it actually had a little quick message that it got taken down, but it's no longer reachable even. So, in any case, you can find alternatives to this, which one of them is Ether, though the ending is a little bit different, but hey, it does the same thing. And because it's running on a browser, I can capture a screenshot. And it's completely ignoring what kind of website is open on it. It doesn't care, as it's still just a browser. So I can do whatever I want in it. And for Spotify or other crap like this, if you want to capture a screenshot in there for some reason, unfortunately, you won't be able to. You could potentially look at Revanced, which allows you to find correct version of Spotify. So that's the way around it. And in there, I think you might be able to capture a screenshot, but if not, you can always use YouTube. So anyway, with that being said, I hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I'll show you how we can enable power saving mode on this device. So, to get started, you will want to swipe down from the top of your screen like so, and this will bring down your toggles along with notifications. Swipe down again and it will extend the list of visible toggles, which by default it looks like it doesn't have power saving mode, so we will need to do that or add it ourselves by clicking right here on this pencil. Swipe down below this point right here, and everything below right here are toggles that you can add. So once you see power saving mode, we have two of them by the way, so you have these power saver and ultra power saver, so I'm going to add both of them. So you want to hold it. There we go. The text right here changes, so we can now drag it, drop it. And when you go back, you'll have access to it on one of the pages. So let's start off with the normal power saving mode. Whoops. And click on it. And you can see it changes the color of the battery to indicate that the mode is right now running, and literally gives you information on what is going to be happening. Let's see if we hold this toggle, maybe it's going to give us a little bit more in here. Nope, not really. There is one thing in here though. So if I turn it off right now, there we go, we can edit some of these options. So when power saving mode is enabled, we can have it disconnect from 5G, restricts apps from accessing network, and reduce refresh rate. By default, it looks that only refresh rate is enabled, meaning that your display, instead of running at 144 Hz, will be running at 60. Other than that, I probably recommend turning off the 5G. You most likely aren't relying on it that much, especially when you're trying to preserve your battery life. And last one is the restricts apps from accessing network. Now this one is a little bit more complicated than what it does compared to how it's explained right here. So what it means is that your device will disconnect from Wi-Fi and mobile data, turn it off when you're not using the device to preserve battery life. Now because it is turning it off, the applications that require it won't be able to basically get any new notifications or updates from them, right? So as an example, if you're using something like WhatsApp without internet obviously doesn't do shit. It won't be able to look for any kind of new messages, so it's just gonna be idling by. And what usually happens is when you start using the device again, it would automatically reconnect and check for those missing notifications and then deliver them to you in bulk. Or you might also need to open up that application for it to force it to look for updates. So this is very important as it does change how and when you receive notifications. So typically, no matter which option is used, you basically won't be getting your notifications the moment they're being sent to you. So you already have some kind of delay. So, be careful with this one if you are really relying on notifications being delivered to you at the moment that they're being sent to you. So anyway, that's just the normal power saving mode. And we also have some automatic modes right here. So we can have it turn on automatically when the battery is at 15%. You can change that right now when it's actually off. So when it's off, you can adjust the percentage. When you turn it on, for some moronic reason, you can't readjust it. Should have been the other way around, but whatever. And we also have another option, turn off power saving automatically when you start charging your device and it reaches 90% charge. So from there, it would automatically turn it off. So both of these can kind of work together and be turning it on and off just without you needing to do anything, which is pretty nice. Though honestly, I wouldn't be selecting 43%. I would be selecting probably like 20 or 15% battery for this to turn on, just because the way it works and what it changes can be a little bit annoying. Now, I want to also navigate to the settings quickly and go to the battery section right here, because in here you can see how much battery we have remaining. So this is right now without power saving mode enabled. We have 47 hours and 39 minutes of battery remaining. Now with power saving mode, we're getting 72.5 hours, which is a pretty substantial jump in battery. And on top of that, you can also see we have ultra power saving mode, which gets us additional 30 hours of battery life. Actually more than that. So in general, this is pretty damn good right here. Props to Nubia for actually having a respectable power saving mode and ultra power saving mode. Shots fired at OnePlus, Vivo, Realme, and Oppo, all owned by the same parent company, and go from measly 20 hours to 24 hours in an ultra mode from normal one. Great. So here we actually have basically more than doubling the battery life of normal mode, which is pretty damn good. But this mode should only be used when you're in a pinch, you have no other options, and you still won't be able to charge your device for additional period of time. So you would basically, let's say, I don't have 20% battery left, and for the rest of the day you won't be able to charge your device. Now, you could turn on power saving mode, normal one, but that might not get you through it. And at this point, you're probably just trying to get your device through the day while still having connectivity for people to be able to call you or message you, right? So in this case, you would be checking this one. Now, this will prioritize battery life and literally nothing else in reality. So let's turn it on just so you can see how that looks like. It gives you a quick message to Ultra Power Saver. To bring maximum battery to your phone, this mode will restrict the number of apps that start automatically and restrict the background activity of apps. So similar to what I did kind of select with the normal power saving mode. But this one has a little bit more oomph to it. With this mode on, some switches will change status and some features will not work. Okay, that's also pretty damn important. If you turn on this mode, all running apps will be closed. I'm not sure why there was this annoying sound for it, but there we go. Here is our ultra power saving mode. You can see we only have access to a couple applications. You can add more. By default, they will all be turned off. So if I click on them, you can see it gives you this pop-up right here, ultra power. To extend battery life, apps running in background will be disconnected from data network, and push notifications will be disabled. Now, you have the option to basically unsuspend these applications by just opening them up, like I just did, right? So So yeah, that's one way. Can I close this? Okay, there we go. Now brightness, we can increase the brightness, but automatically the mode itself just tries to lower it down to absurdity and limits the amount of toggle that we have access to, as well as removes wallpaper and so on. So this is all done to preserve your battery life. And to leave this mode, because it's no longer visible in here, you have the exit button right here. We're just going to confirm it. And there we go, we're back to normal mode. So anyway, that's about it. Now, I hope you found this very helpful. And if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I will show you how you can import your contacts from the SIM card to the device. So, to get started, you will want to open up your standalone contacts application, like the one that will be located in the Google folder right here on the first page. And when you open up for the first time, it will bring up this moronic pop-up, allow contacts to send you notifications. Now, when it says contacts, it actually means the application itself, not the contacts themselves that are in there. So we're going to obviously select don't allow, because there is no reason why this application should ever give us any kind of notifications. I mean, logically thinking, what would the notification be? Congratulations, you have added a new contact. You have updated one maybe. So obviously don't allow this. And then in here, we can navigate to the Organize tab at the bottom, select Manage SIM, which typically this will be much lower down the list if you are signed in to your Google account. And when you select it, you'll have all your contacts selected by default on the checkbox, and they should all be, well, looking like they do for me. Now, if some of your contacts are deselected and grayed out, don't worry, these contacts already exist on the location that the device is trying to import them to. And that being said, by default, your device will most likely try to import your contacts to the Google Cloud, because you most likely have Google account signed in. Now, I will be approaching this import from a perspective of privacy kind of orientation. So I won't be telling you to import them to the cloud. I will be telling you to import them to the device. So depending on how the option is visible for you, there are two different options for the cloud, for the contacts application. So one is where you have the drop-down menu somewhere below right here, below the Manage Contacts, and by default it will have your Google account signed in. You can tap on it and change it to device only, or the device. There is another one that I started seeing, the much shittier one, which is the one that is at the bottom. It takes about this much space and has the device and Google account selected by default, and then below that it has the More option. Now the More option only hides one more option, and apparently Google, even though this pop-up is about this big, didn't have enough space for expanding that more and substituting it more with device only option. It needed to be hidden away. Now this is deliberately by design made like this, because Google doesn't want you to skip them, get them out of the loop, because they want that precious data, the data that people have never consented to share. Meaning that any kind of contact you're uploading to cloud, to Google specifically, is basically you sharing someone else's personal information that has never consented to that. And Google is out here basically just kind of disregarding consent by getting the information of other people that don't want it to be shared without ever needing to ask that person. They asking someone else. It's as though, I don't know, I would find some, find you on a street and I don't know, have some thief and tell him, yeah, you know what, it's okay for you to take your phone away. I'm giving consent. And then, that thief comes in, yoinks that phone from your hand, and you can say shit because I gave permission to it, apparently. Google's basically that thief, and I'm the one uploading contacts to the cloud. So giving consent to something that I shouldn't have ability to consent to. So because of that, obviously, I believe that you should be importing your contacts to the phone itself, not the cloud, as these contacts can contain a lot of personal information, which I'll show you in a moment how much of it actually can be there. But in any case, from here, you can deselect whichever contact you don't want to import. and from there click on import. Now one more thing that you might see is another pop-up. I think it's also going to show up if you are signed into a Google account, which will ask you to delete these contacts from the SIM card. Now the way it's kind of worded is kind of to clear storage on your SIM card, delete imported contacts from your card. The contacts that haven't been imported won't be affected. Now in reality, don't obviously do that. Keep these contacts because there is no reason for you to delete them. It's the most moronic shit I have seen. This pop-up basically wants you to get rid of your copy of your contacts from other sources that Google doesn't control. This is basically what it boils down to. And the storage on your SIM card is only designed to store SIM contacts, nothing else. There's no reason for you to clear it, to make space for, because it's not like you can store anything other than contacts on there. And having them on there is basically a nice way for you to have a copy of your contacts that is separate from corporate overlords called Google. And Google wants you to delete them without ever actually giving you a solid reason why. Clearing storage for storage that only stores that kind of type of data is not really a reason. So in any case, select keep if you get that pop-up. And now moving to our contacts list, you can see I only imported 2 contacts, and depending on where you have imported your contacts to, you can also just kind of limit how many contacts are visible by clicking right here. So all contacts, we can choose to show contacts, either all of them, device contacts. Now if you're signed into your Google account, that will also be visible right here to show contacts from your Google account only. And if you create specific kind of list, you can select them in here as well, as you can have like specific kind of categories of contacts. Now, talking about editing contacts and the information behind them, let's just click on one of those. So there is one. We can click on edit. And this is the contact that is now on the phone itself. So when it's on the phone or the Google account, it allows me to add the cover photo for the contact itself, the call photo for the entire page when someone is calling me. I have first name, last name, company name, phone numbers, which I can add multiple phone numbers, some labels, notes, and then some other personal information like email, the date of their birth, address, where they live, and others. And others has additional things like nicknames and other crap. So now when you import these to the cloud and fill out this information, this is basically all that Google now has access to, so they can monetize, make a better profile for that person, and just sell them better advertisements that that person that has had their data basically stolen by Google now can't say shit about, and now has more personalized advertisements. Wow, what a glorious thing. And by the way, Google is selling this shit, so they're making profit off of this data anyway. Profit that neither you nor the person that this data belongs to ever see. So obviously do not import it to the cloud. One more thing that I do want to point out, if you want to have these contacts, whatever you have right here, all of them, for instance, moved to another device without needing to fill out this information again, as the same contacts that are on the SIM card only have name and number. That's the only 2 fields you can fill. So if you want to move the contacts with everything that you have in here, like the date of birth, photos, and all that stuff, you could download an application that would allow you to create a backup of them. I think the backup would be called something like a VCF file. And you can move that file, as it's a physical file, to another device. One click, import it, and you're good to go. So this would solve the problem of not having them cloud stored and not appearing on other devices, but you can have them as a file which you can move around. Which again even adds more, I would say, security, as having them as a physical like a file that you can move around and keep on a separate storage also gives you a bit more control over it. But anyway, with that being said, I hope you found this very helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo GT3 or 3GT, and today I'll be showing you how you can hard reset this device through recovery mode. Okay, so before I get started, I am going to quickly mention a couple things. You can do this reset through recovery mode also in order to get rid of a screen lock if you have one set that you don't know. Now, that's one thing. Now, I do want to point out and clarify, when you do this, in order to get rid of this kind of screen lock that you don't know, typically your device will become FRP locked. And this happens because most people have a Google account signed in on their device. This one actually doesn't, so it won't happen on here because I haven't signed into it, but you most likely have a Google account signed in on a device. When performing this reset, this will FRP lock it, and that will mean that once the reset is finished, you will be forced to verify either the Google account that was signed in or the screen lock that you might not know. So that only leaves you technically with only Google as a verification method. And if you can't verify at least one of those, you won't be able to finish up the setup screen. Therefore, you would be, or setup in general, and therefore you'll be stuck in it without ever being able to access the home screen or use the device in a way, right? So you're more or less stuck with a fancy brick. Now, that being said, sometimes these kind of like GSM stores, which have used phones in a window, you know, those like kickstands, like these ones, you know, typically, they most often offer services that would allow you to remove this kind of protection at a small fee if you ever need it. I used to even be able to, used to show this how to do it at home without any kind of cost or anything like that, but Google unfortunately patched up all the vulnerabilities that I was showing. So now you might be only left with some kind of paid services, which I'm not even certain if that is possible. But hey, if you don't have any other options, you might as well check. Okay, so that's one thing. Another one that I want to mention is the data that is on this device. When performing this kind of reset, all the data obviously will be deleted from the device. Now, if you have a Google account, chances are some portion of this data is already backed up. For instance, things like photos, most people by mistake just click to upload these photos to the cloud when you open up Photos application, and Google is just always pestering you with this at least, and then also pestering you like, ooh, enable the syncing to the cloud. So that means that your photos is probably backed up as long as they don't exceed 15 gigabytes. So that's one thing. Contacts and so on, people also usually upload to the cloud, so that's also going to be usually backed up on a daily basis by Google, because they wouldn't want to, you know, miss out on any kind of shred of data that they can monetize. Applications as well, as long as they came from Play Store. Now, if you want to create your own backup without screen lock, without knowing it, you can't even access your device, and therefore you can't really back it up, as plugging it in or anything like that without unlocking it won't let you access the data that is stored on it, even when you're trying to access it on a computer. So heads up for that one. But for people that can access their device and want to manually back up your phone, there's actually two ways. You can either go to the Google one and you can check if it's being backed up by going into the settings, scrolling all the way to the bottom and going under system and update and selecting backup. And here you would have info about the two different kind of types of data that is backed up, and you would have a check mark if it's enabled or not. If not, you can obviously enable it. Now, this is the Google way, which I don't recommend, as there is a much better way to do this, which is through utilizing the application called, there we go. Now, the wallpaper is absolutely abhorrent, but there is an app called Phone Switch. I will open it up just so you can... Hello, can I just like... Oh, there we go. So you can see Phone Switch right here. And this will be utilized, or you can utilize this to migrate data or just create a backup of your data to another Nubia device, or ZTE, however you want to call it. So ZTE, Nubia, Red Magic, all that, right? Now, if you have another device, and depending on what you want to do, you can do any one of these options. But if you have the same brand's phone, that's great. You can use this application. If you have a different brand of the device that you would be moving this data to, either as a backup to that device or as a migration to a new device. So as an example, if you have a Samsung as your new phone, you would need to download Samsung's version of this application. So Samsung uses an app called Smart Switch, and you would need to download Smart Switch on the Nubia phone. And when you open it up, it will actually give you only one option when you have it open. Instead of being old and new, you would only have the option that that device is old. Samsung, just like Nubia, develops these kind of applications to help you move data to them, not away from them, and also move data between their own devices. So for purposes like this, you technically would need to use two different applications if you want to create a backup of the data on this phone. So I would need to download Smart Switch on here to help me connect to this phone and move data to the Samsung. But then back forward, if I want to move the data from Samsung back to here, I would need to download Phone Switch on Samsung and then connect them and move the data back. So anyway, to give you a couple of different brands and what they use, as an example, Vivo, OnePlus, Realme, and Oppo, all four use clone phone. Huawei uses phone clone, the other way around. You have Smart Switch from Samsung. Xiaomi uses Mi Mover, and I think Motorola has Moto Move. So these are some of the ones from top of my head. And you can use this one, and this one will be a fantastic option for you to migrate your data. And I highly recommend utilizing this, even with a little bit of a pain, needing to get like different applications depending on what brand you have. But if you can use it, I highly recommend it. And again, you can kind of either migrate to a new device using this kind of process or this logic, downloading the accurate application for that phone, or create a backup using it this way as well. Though there's that additional step of needing to get another application installed on one of those devices. So anyway, with that out of the way, let's move on with the actual resetting. So I'm going to lock the device and proceed from the lock screen as though I don't know my screen lock. And to do that, first we're going to turn off the device by holding power button and selecting power off. Now you'll feel a vibration which indicates that the phone has turned off. From there, just hold power button and volume up at the same time. And when you get the Nubia logo, let go of the power button, but keep holding volume up till you have the recovery mode, like this one, at which point you can also let go of the volume up. Now I'm going to increase the exposure on my camera just so you can see the other options in here. So in this mode, you'll need to use the volume buttons to navigate. As you can see, volume down navigates down and up goes up. And power button will be used to confirm whatever is selected with this blue line. So with that in mind, we want to select wipe data, factory reset, confirm it with the power button. Then select factory data reset. It's going to tell you that it's formatting data, and the last thing you should see is the data wipe complete, at which point reboot system now will be selected by default, so press power button to confirm that. This will reboot your device and continue resetting it in the background. Now because it is continuing the reset, it will take the device a little bit longer, approximately 1 to 2 minutes to finish it up, and when it is finished, we will be presented with the setup screen. So I'll be back once that is visible for me. And as you can see, the process is now finished, and you can set up your device however you like, as long as it's not FRP locked. Now, if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I will show you how you can record screen on this device. So, to get started, you will want to swipe down from the top of your screen, and then swipe down again, which will extend the list of visible toggles. Now somewhere we should have our screen recorder, which doesn't look like it's actually added by default. So we will need to add it ourselves by clicking right here on this pencil. And then scroll down below this point right here. And everything below here are toggles that I can add. So I'm going to grab screen recorder, which is visible right here. You can see when you hold it, it changes the text. Now we can drag it over, drop it, go back, and now we have access to it. So before I start actually recording, I am going to first hold this toggle, as this will take me to the settings. And in here, I can change, most importantly, things like the video quality, which is set to medium for some moronic reason. It's 2026, so let's change it to high. Medium is, I believe, 720p, and let's be honest, at current year, 720p as a default option is just diabolical. So anyway, other than that, we have only a couple other options, like for instance the recording of sound, and we have mic, system. You can choose either both or just one of those if you want. Keep in mind, when trying to record both, I would recommend using some kind of headphones, as otherwise when the system sound is being recorded, it will be recorded on a software side internally, and then it's going to get fed through the speakers, at which point the microphone would hear the second time, which could subsequently create an unwanted echo effect. And the last thing in here is the record touch interactions. This will record a semi-transparent gray dot where your finger was pressing the display. For videos like I'm making right here, if you were to do these but just as a screen recorder, you could do this. It would be probably beneficial. For instance, gameplay though, if you're playing some games and recording those, it might be a bit more distracting. So I'm gonna keep it on just so we can see how that looks like. So anyway, now that everything is set, we can close this up. Before I start recording, I do want to just do one more thing, because I will be kind of showing you one more thing as a little bit of a bonus, and also as a way to kind of circumvent some crappiness that screen recorder has. So anyway, let's get to it. So we're going to find this toggle once more, and this time around we're just going to simply tap on it. It gives you this overlay. It does give you the option for sound, which is the middle thing right here. So you can change that anytime you click on this toggle and then before you start recording. And we have the close option for this overlay and the record one. This overlay actually will not be visible on the recording itself, so you don't need to worry about it just getting in the way. So whatever you'll do right now, for the most part, will be recorded by the device. So if I open up some kind of application, I have no clue actually what I just opened up. Neo, whatever. So I can close this. And yeah, so this will be recorded just fine. Now, once you're done recording, you can click right over here. And this will save the recording. You can see it right here. And you can find it by going into your Photos application. And you can see it right here. Now, I'm not signed into Google right now, so this will matter just a little bit in terms of where everything is. When you are signed into your Google account, you will get most likely this little additional option right here for albums or catalogs, whatever it's called. And when you click on it, you will find different albums in there, such as screenshots and pictures, as well as plenty of other ones like downloads and whatever. So that will be probably the best way for you to find your screen recording, by navigating there and finding album called screenshots. You can actually tap right here on the text, and this will take me to that to that album, in which you can find screenshots and screen recordings, but I only have one thing, so that's why it's not showing literally anything else. And from here we can view it. So I do want to talk about one more thing. So the recorder uses, I believe the feature is called drawing over other apps. I think that's how it's called. It could be wrong, but in any case, the point how it's called, it doesn't really matter. What it matters is that certain applications can choose to basically block this feature from being usable. So as an example, this is for the most part used correctly by, for instance, bank applications. And to give you a hypothetical situation, if you would ever get a malware on your device that would try to, I don't know, screen record or screenshot the way you're, when you're typing in your PINs or your passwords to your bank, you can imagine how that would be very detrimental to your security of your bank if, such a malware could see you do this. And then obviously send it to themselves so they can log into your bank from their end. So because of that, bank applications do block this. And when such a malware or you even try to record a screen, what you would end up getting is a black screen. You see literally nothing on it the moment the application is opened. So, not sure why this closed. Piss off. So, yeah. Oh, no, it's playing. So in any case, in this kind of situation, this feature is being utilized correctly. Now, what you will experience this feature most of the time being used in is streaming platforms, such as Netflix, Spotify, Hulu, and other garbage. Now, in this kind of way, or for those kind of applications, this feature is being misused. I am the person that would believe that application that is able to mess around the way you can use your device without ever even asking you permission to do so, and you agreeing to it, is overreaching what the application should be able to do. And let's be honest, the actual Netflix, for instance, isn't blocking this because they care so much about your privacy, right? If they did, they wouldn't be gathering data on you. So in any case, obviously, for that kind of purposes, this is not being used correctly. And I'll be showing you in a moment how you can circumvent this, because if you're paying for the damn service, you are in your damn right to actually record whatever the shit you want in it. As long as it's not breaking law, which just recording this isn't. If you're not sharing it, and even if you are sharing it, there is free or fair use, which is you can share a clip of a video that you would be able to record up to, like, what is it, dozen seconds, like, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds or something like that. So you should be in your damn effing right to record whatever the shit you want. So for that reason, I'll be showing you how you can do that by circumventing the crappy Netflix or other platforms kind of bullshit use. And just to put that in, they're not doing, like I said, this to protect you. They're doing it to basically protect themselves from piracy. But you are not responsible for this. Your device shouldn't be working for an application that you need to pay a fucking subscription to use it. It's not your business. They don't pay you to do this, so piss off with this shit. And for that reason, we can navigate to our browser, and I will be showing you where you can navigate to record any kind of videos of whatever show or movie you would want to from applications like that. If I can actually locate the damn browser. Oh, there it is. I don't want to sign in. So I do want to say I used to use one called PStream as an example right here, but possibly because I was using it, the application might have gone taken down, as they basically got the legal kind of BS, even though, okay, that was weird, even though they're not even responsible for the content that is on there. They're basically as equivalent, responsible as much as a browser is to view this content. But in any case, I'm going to show you some other ones, which might not be the best kind of solution, to be completely fair, but it works. And I'm sorry to whoever that maintains this. You might be getting a legal notice too. But hey, you can find other options like this. So not even going to say it, just so this is maybe, the crappy little AI won't pick it up. But clearly you can see this crap gives you a lot of BS ads anytime you click on it, so it opens up a new tab, like I did right now. So let's go back. Wait, what? Okay, I'm gonna say this browser is absolute awful. As instead of opening up this piece of shit ad in a new tab, it's opening up in the same one. When you go back, it ignores the fact that there's a domain between. So you know what, I'm not really gonna be showing this. I do kind of want to protect these sites a little bit, just so they're not gonna be getting this. But the one that I was typing in on normal browser, Chrome, seems to be working, and because it's a browser, you clearly can take screenshots of it and record screens, so they're not basically being restricted, as the application itself would need to restrict it. So in this case, you can record it, and it's completely free on these. If you're planning to, I don't know, maybe you record a snippet of song or something like that through Spotify, which also blocks it, you can just dump Spotify and use something like YouTube. Let's be honest, YouTube is free and doesn't block you for this, even though it does the same exact thing. And just to give you like a little snippet, because I just kind of despise this logic, Spotify has the audacity to block recording screen and screenshots in case of a piracy, but these motherfuckers had the audacity to start their own business from piracy by downloading the entire music library through LimeWire, and now they have what, a little bit of a sissy fit, these fucking bitches, because what, people want to do the same? Oh, wow, cry me a river. So anyway, you use some other options to get your music recorded. Like I said, YouTube will allow you to do that as well. Whatever it is that you want to do it for, I believe when you're paying for the damn service or in some way, which even if you're using it, Spotify for free, you're still wasting your time on ads, which technically is somewhat of a payment with your time in this case. So anyway, you should be able to do this, but because you can use YouTube or check out Revents. You can thank me later. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I will show you how you can hard reset this device through settings. So, before I actually get started with the resetting, I do want to quickly talk about backing up your device. And there will be multiple different ways you can, or two different ways I think you can back up your device. At least I will be talking about two different ones. So if you're not interested in backing up your device, or you have already done it, feel free to skip forward by like, I presume, 8 minutes or so. I do want to go very in depth into this one. So anyway, to get started with the backup and also subsequently with the reset, we're going to navigate into the settings, and in here scroll all the way to the bottom to system and update. And right above reset options, you have backup. Now this backup right here is going to try to be done through Google. It's an option that you can utilize if you have no other option. But I do want to warn you against the shortcomings of this method. So when trying to back up your device through Google, number one, you're first uploading all your personal information like photos, videos, contacts, and all that stuff to Google. For Google to monetize, create like, the profiles for people so they can advertise better or sell their data. I generally hate this, especially that it's the shittiest backup you can imagine. It's honestly not even backing up half of the things, or in terms of gigabytes, most of the data isn't even being backed up. So if you take a look at, for instance, things like photos and videos, when you're signed in, this probably will be enabled by default, as Google Photos pesters the shit out of you for you to enable this, because God forbid Google wouldn't have access to your photos so they can train their AI on image generation, right? So this is probably enabled, and whatever. Now the problem here is when it comes down to backup, you're limited only to presumably 15 gigabytes of data, as this is usually your free Google account cloud storage limit. You can pay for more, but by default, if you have more than 15 gigabytes, tough titties, you ain't uploading any more than that. At least not for free. And in this case, as a backup, it's kind of failing when it only limits you to a specific amount of storage, especially 15 gigabytes on a phone that has at least 128 of it. That's a very small percentage of data that you can back up. Now, another thing is other device data, which if I click on it, I think it will show. Yep. So it backs up things like your contacts, call history, device settings, app data, SMS, MMS, and SIM, along with Google, to your Google account. So this actually is also incorrect in a way. Of course it is, like, it's Google, what did you expect? So one of the things that it will do is basically upload to the cloud anything that Google can monetize as a data that is taking not in a very low amount of space, but is pretty good for training, like selling for advertisements, right? So things like call histories, the contacts and so on, that's great. That just allows them to profile everyone better. How fantastic. Now, when it comes down to the complete blatant lie, it's apps and app data. App data, I don't think it's even being backed up at all. And apps, well, also aren't being actually backed up. So Google kind of limits you to backing up your application to ones that came from Play Store. And calling it a backup is like very, very generous, as it's actually limiting you to the applications that came from Play Store because it's not actually backing them up. What it's really doing is, when this backup is being created, is as though you created a little bit of a sticky note letting you know that this backup needs to re-download these applications from Play Store. Now, this kind of entire process is absolute shit when you consider some kind of possibilities that might happen, that have happened already plenty of times. So one of them would have been if you download something like an emulator, let's just say Yuzu. I don't know if Yuzu was on Play Store or not. One of them I know was definitely downloadable on Play Store. And hey, you downloaded it when it was there. Cool. But then, Nintendo Hit Squad got a notice that, whoa, someone is emulating Switch? Oh my wamu. And, well, they just kind of nuke them with legal documents for the developers to basically give up and decide that, they prefer to not be broke as shit and just remove the application from Play Store and just go into hiding because Nintendo Hit Squad is after them. So obviously you have this application, and the moment it gets removed from Play Store, that's great. It doesn't matter. You have it on your phone, right? You're now creating the backup of it. Well, that application is no longer on Play Store, so cool that your little backup has a little bit of a cliff note. Download Yuzu emulator. Where the shit is it going to download it from? Typically, it would have been from Play Store, but Play Store no longer has the application, so you're not downloading it from anywhere. Which, as a backup, it absolutely fails monumentally at what it's supposed to achieve. And that's why I'm saying that this is the shittiest way you can do it, and it should be only a last resort if you have no other alternatives to utilize. And there is plenty of ways to utilize backing up your device, even to your computer manually. Might take much longer amount of time to do this, but it can be sure as shit what your backup is physically stored on the damn computer. And the fact that it doesn't exist on Play Store any longer is not affecting it whatsoever. So that's one way. Now, another way in here, I believe we have a little bit of a cloning application. Yep, there it is, phone switch. Now, this can be used if you're switching to another device, from this one to another. And depending on what you're going to do, you can also technically back it up using this kind of method, but maybe not this application. So let me explain the functionality of this app. This, for instance, this specific one, phone switch, is made by Nubia. So every Nubia phone, that be ZTE, Red Magics, or whatever, they all use the same application, and you can connect one device to another of the same brand, that'd be Nubia or other ones, and switch interchangeably the data from one Nubia phone to another, right? Back and forth, doesn't really matter. It's all using the same app, which both give you old and a new device options, which means that you can move from and to it. Now, I'm pointing that out because if, for instance, we bring into picture, instead of a Nubia phone, we bring up Samsung as an example. Nubia developed this application to help me move to their brand, not to help me move out of their brand to something like a Samsung. That would be a stupid business choice. So, a decent amount of companies like Samsung, Nubia, Xiaomi, and other ones have their own version of this application. They're all differently. So, as an example, here we have phone switch. Samsung here will be using the smart switch. Xiaomi has Mi Mover. Oppo, Realme, OnePlus, and Vivo all use clone phone. Huawei uses phone clone, so the other way around. And that's the ones that I remember on top of my head. So whichever phone you would be switching to, if it's different brand, that would be this phone's option that you need to download on this one. And I recommend going through this. It's a little bit annoying that you need to download at best like 2 different applications for this, as you would need, for instance, here the phone, the smart switch on this device. If you want to move back to the data from here back to here later on, if you're creating a backup like this, you would need to download then phone switch application on Samsung to move it back. So you need basically each of these phones, other application on each other. So this will be better, and I recommend going through this hassle, as the amount of data and how much control you have over this data is some of the best you can have. It's by leagues ahead of what Google offers, and that's why I don't recommend using Google for this. When importing it or backing up your device or migrating using these kind of methods, you have control over applications no matter where they came from. They could be from GitHub, for all this process cares for, and it's still going to move the application. Shit, this application might no longer exist on the internet. It could be completely scraped by Nintendo Hit Squad, right? And you can, as long as it's on your phone, you can move it to another one. Doesn't matter that this application doesn't exist on the internet anymore. So that's great. App data gets moved. Also the call logs, messages, contacts, and all that stuff also gets moved, no problem. And you have much more control over everything. So I highly recommend doing this one instead. Now, with that out of the way, let's move to the actual resetting, as this would have covered our backing up / migration. So let's go back into our settings, and in here, you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom to System and Update, and then select Reset Options. Now from the bottom, select Erase All Data, Factory Reset. This will load up for a moment and then give you this info that all data will be removed, including whatever is listed right here. Whatever, we don't care. We have already backed up our device, so this doesn't really matter. I do want to point out one thing. It says that it's going to basically remove your account. What it means is that it's going to just remove it from the phone itself, but the account, you can still log into it, meaning the Google account. So you don't need to worry about it. You can still relog into it later on. Anyway, select Erase All Data. Now, if you have some kind of screen lock, like I do, you need to confirm it here. And once you do, it presents you one last time with the info that this will delete all data and cannot be undone, which we're just going to select Erase All Data, as our device is already backed up. And this will begin resetting it. Now, this process will take 1 to 2 minutes to finish up, and when it's completed, we will be presented with Android setup screen. So I'll be back once that is visible for me. And as you can see, the process is now finished, and you can set up your device however you like. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Welcome. In front of me is a Nubia Neo 3 GT, and today I will show you how you can enable and also set up your portable hotspot. So, to get started, let's first unlock my device. And to get started, we're going to swipe down from the top of our screen like so, and do that once more to extend the list of visible toggles, which hopefully will reveal the hotspot toggle, or not. So if it's not revealing the hotspot toggle, it means that we need to add it ourselves, and we can do so by clicking right here on this pencil, swiping below this text right here, and anything below here are toggles that I can add to that initial list. So I can see hotspot is already right here, so I'm going to hold it, and the text above it will change when I do hold it. There we go. So now I can drag it above, drop it, go back, and you can see I have access to it in the list. Now when it's in here, in this list, first time I recommend holding this toggle. This will quickly take you to the settings, which will automatically let you change hotspot password, which is right here. Now this one, I think it has already been changed as it is just a string of numbers. Typically, you will be looking at string of letters and numbers, which generally, even this being just numbers, it's still not fun to type or try to remember. So I do recommend just getting rid of it and setting up your password that will be much easier for you to remember and use. For me, that is going to be a very simple 1 through 8 password, as your password will need to have at least 8 characters in length. And you can see the moment I type in the 8th number, the OK will become unchecked or checked basically, so I can now confirm it. Anyway, so our password is changed. We also have a couple other options like AP band, and we have 2 different options in here. I'm going to explain this quickly. So if you know what this is, by all means skip forward, but I'm going to try to explain what the use case scenario for this might be and if you should change it or not. So starting off with the explanation, the 2.4 band is going to be the older one, the one that is basically used by literally any device that has any Wi-Fi connectivity. If it claims that it can connect to network, even if it's like 2 decades old, it's going to use this. Now 5 GHz on the other hand side is going to be faster. That's great. For a mobile network, not so much, but hey, it's faster, so that's its benefit. But the downside is that newer devices only will be able to connect to it. So if you have, again, that older device that can connect to the 2.4, that same device might not be able to connect to the 5 GHz one. So it would require a newer device, newer meaning like at least, I think, 5 years old or so. Though, again, this is not like perfect timing, because when this technology came out with the 5 GHz like band or gigahertz connectivity for Wi-Fi, it was more of a premium feature. So low-end devices back then didn't have it, newer ones did. So it will depend on a device. Now if you don't know what your other device supports and you want to use this, which you totally are free to do so, you can just check it out. Easily testing it by just turning that on, the 5 GHz one right here, and then enabling your hotspot, grabbing that other device. So let's just say I'm going to grab my phone. Let me just quickly prep this. So here's my phone. It finds a bunch of networks right here. It's right now set to 5, and if I turn this on, I'll be looking for Nubia Neo 3 GT to show up in here. And if it does, that means that it supports it. And I think it probably should show up in a second. Now I know for a fact that this device supports it, so let's just refresh this. And there we go. It's right here. And it labeled on my device as it's a 5 GHz network. There's like a tiny little 5 next to the network. I also have Wi-Fi 6 right here apparently. So in any case, I can connect to it. Now, if your device doesn't support 5 GHz network, like I selected right here, this network will never show up in that list. So this gives you a quick answer if your device supports it or not. Now, in general, probably for the simplicity, if you're planning to use multiple devices and some of them support it, some of them don't, probably the best thing to do is just select the 2.4. This will basically mean that literally any device supports it, and because it's a mobile network, you're not really getting that much benefit from the 5 GHz anyway, so these two networks are, or frequencies more like, have a much closer kind of relation to each other for mobile hotspot. So, it might be just easier to go with this one, the 2.4. And to give you this as an example, the 2.4 or the 5 GHz one over the 2.4 has a faster connection, more devices can connect to it, there is more kind of space for more crowded network. This is one benefit that it actually has, one that is usable. But yeah, the speed doesn't really matter. The amount of devices usually connected doesn't matter that much. The latency, again, doesn't really matter that much. So this is all kind of minuscule differences that you won't really notice at all, because primarily you're bottlenecked by the mobile network of your service provider. So for instance, on my end, my phone, my service plan offers me, I think, like 30 to 60 megabits speed. Now this is, for a phone, at least where I'm from, pretty damn good. And I don't have a limit, which is absolutely fantastic. But even that, I don't ever need to enable the 5 GHz. Like, I'm copying at 60. That's my peak of what I can do. So yeah, the moment I'm getting 100 megabits or more network, I probably would consider changing it to the Wi-Fi 5 GHz one over the 2.4. So I am limited by the network of my provider, which is usually slow. I'm limited also to the antennas of the device itself. So these are also usually on devices like this a little bit crappier, so that also bottlenecks it a little bit. So yeah, setting it up to 5 GHz typically has only advantage in terms of very densely populated areas. In this kind of circumstances, the 2.4 GHz lane might be much more crowded. It's a lane that is a little bit crowded easier. So there can be the same amount of signals at 2.4 as there would be at 5 GHz, but the 2.4 will basically give you problems because of that amount, while the 5 GHz will not. So when you are living in a densely populated area, these signals will start to interfere with each other, and you might experience some kind of weirdness happening with your hotspot. If you do live in such an area and you have problems, that is primarily what is probably going to be causing it. The amount of different signals that are interfering with one another. In this case, you can select it to 5 and you're good to go. This would open up the amount of connections, like the different signals that can be at, for instance, 5 GHz, which 5 GHz network is way more open for this. And therefore, this should theoretically remove this kind of problem from happening. Now, I have never experienced this myself, so I can't really vouch for how well this works. I might live in crowd or city, but it's nowhere near dense enough to actually give me problems. So in any case, with that explanation, a little bit lengthy, once everything is set up, we can just close this up, and whenever you want to enable this, you would just find this toggle and simply, it's already enabled, so we're going to just tap on it to turn it on. One thing to keep in mind right here, which you may have noticed, when enabling hotspot, it actually turns off Wi-Fi. So like I said, this device is on the lower end, which I was kind of implying with antennas. And these antennas are crappier and there's less of them. Therefore, when enabling hotspot, it turns off Wi-Fi. So you can only use one or the other, as I presume we only have like, what, 2 antennas? One for your mobile network to be delivered to you, so you have reception, and the other one usually is either reserved for hotspot or Wi-Fi, and they're interchange. So as you can see, when I turn it on, Wi-Fi goes off. When I turn it off, Wi-Fi turns back on. So just note that anytime you turn on your hotspot, you automatically will be running everything off of your mobile network, and nothing will be going through your Wi-Fi. And one more important thing to remember, or accommodate for maybe, will be your service provider data limit. most companies, I believe, still have some kind of data limit. That'd be 10 gigabytes, 20, whatever it is for you, depending on how long ago you signed your contract. If you still have a contract, you probably have some limit. At least where I'm from, it's not common to have unlimited data cap like I do. I specifically went for that myself. So in cases where you have a data cap, you might want to set it up so you don't exceed it. And you can do that, I believe, under, not here. I believe it's going to be, let's open up settings. What the hell is settings? Okay, this font is absolutely horrific. Or font, this icon pack. Where the high heaven hell is the settings? Bear with me, I'll try to find this garbage. Settings, what the You know what? Wait, I know how I can access it. There we go. That's going to be much easier. Okay, so in here you can navigate to I believe it's going to be mobile network. Yep. And to mobile network, and you can select either data saver. This is one thing that I can do. This tries to limit the amount of data that is being kind of used by the mobile network by, for instance, when images being loaded into websites and stuff like that, by just straight up reducing their resolution and lowering the amount that it loads. So they will look very pixelated, crappy, but it reduces the amount of data being used by your mobile network. So that's one thing. Another thing that I can do is select a limit. So is it also in here? Yeah, it is in here. Oh, wait, no, not in here. That's not it. Mobile data, maybe here. Yes, there we go. So it's going to be under mobile data. You can see data warning and limit. And here you can select a hard limit to your to how much data is being used. So I can select it to be, for instance, 2 gigabytes. And after I reach the 2 gigabytes, at least the way it's set right now, it would only give me a warning. I can also do the set data limit. Okay. And make it, for instance, also 2 gigs or whatever I want, right? And when I have the data limit, this will literally turn off my mobile data altogether to prevent me from using it. And this will be great in case you have that cap, and specifically when your service provider would want to charge you extra the moment you surpass it. Then you definitely want to utilize this. Depending on how your service provider deals with your data cap, from my experience, mine, when I would surpass it, when I used to have it, it would basically just lower the speed of it to a absolute crawl. But I wouldn't be charged more. I was literally getting like a 1 kilobit network speed, but I wasn't paying more for it, so I didn't really need that. But if you would get automatically charged more, then you probably want to deal with this. And I think for roaming purposes, I think this might be the best kind of solution. And keep in mind, roaming and your mobile data are two different kind of numbers usually. So your mobile plan usually has, for instance, let's say 10 gigabytes of just mobile data, but if it's roaming, it might be only 2. So if you're planning to use that and you don't want to get charged extra, make sure you also know what that is. So anyway, with that lengthy explanation, I hope you found this very helpful. And if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.